from Hughes Spalding Stadium in Atlanta. It's the Winn-Dixie High School Football Game of the Week. The second round of the state playoffs, where tonight, the War Eagles of Marist, under head coach Alan Chadwick, play host to the Washington Bulldogs of head coach Rodney Cofield.
The Winn-Dixie High School Football Game of the Week is brought to you by Winn-Dixie Marketplace, Life University, Sonny's Barbecue, and the Atlanta Falcons.
Hello again, everybody, and happy Thanksgiving. Matt Stewart along with Jamie Newberg and Jamie Dukes. Bo Bach is down on the field tonight. We have second round state playoff action. The top-ranked and unbeaten Marist War Eagles playing host to fifth-ranked and 9-1 Washington Bulldogs, a matchup a lot of people thought would come in the state semifinals or maybe even the state championship game. But because Washington lost to Creekside earlier in the season, Washington draws a second round matchup here at Marist tonight. Two very talented ball clubs. Let's start with the visiting Bulldogs, led by quarterback Latrez Harrison.
Latrez is an All-American, a great quarterback, has great size, speed, and has a rocket launcher attached to his arm. He's a great threat for Washington. He is an All-American, but he has some go-to guys. Kenneth Kennedy's a terrific wide receiver, and they got a freshman running back named Nicholas Turner that has got to have a big game tonight for Washington to pull off the upset.
21 touchdown passes for Latrez during the regular season, also rushed for 5 others. He makes things happen for Washington. Over on the Marist side of the ball, offensively, that triple option attack with quarterback Paul Nichols. The guy he likes to get the ball to is the halfback Brandon Russell.
And I tell you, Georgia's going to be treated to a great matchup this weekend. We're going to see a great football player. Brandon Russell is a prime-time football player. You see right here, this guy can do it all. He can run the ball, he can catch the ball, he also can return punts, kickoffs, a true triple threat, a guy that is just really exciting to watch. Watch him there as he moves along. He is just a fantastic player, and I'm really excited about tonight's game.
Down on the sideline, we have Bo Bach, and Bo, this is a classic battle of city school versus private school.
Yeah, it really is, Matt. It's got a playoff atmosphere written all over it. In fact, when Washington came out, they were dancing on the Marist M at midfield. So Marist didn't take too kindly to that. They were taking a page out of the Florida Gators book. It's going to be one doozy. A lot of people think this should be for the state championship game. We're getting it in the second round. Marist is going to be close to the vest, and Washington's going to be wide open. So buckle on your headgear and turn the dial all the way to the right. We got a good one brewing here.
Well, we've got our headgear on, and we're ready to play. We'll be back with the opening kickoff right after this timeout on Media One Channel 33. The opening kickoff. Washington will receive the opening kickoff here at Hughes Spalding Stadium. Marist in the navy jerseys, Washington in the white jerseys and the white pants. Damian Hill standing deep for the Washington Bulldogs. Brian Dempsey to kick things off for Marist. A little pooch kick over to the far side is going to be fielded at the 26-yard line. And driven out of bounds is Kenneth Kennedy, and at about the 28-yard line, that's where Washington will begin this ball game as we take a look at the Sonny's Barbecue. Starting lineups for the Washington Bulldogs: Harrison, the quarterback, Hall and Lee and Turner in the backfield. Britton and Kennedy are the wide receivers. On the line, Lowe, Houston, McClure, Haslam, and Ashley. So Washington starts from the 28-yard line. Nicholas Turner, lined up behind the quarterback Latrez Harrison, is just a freshman. Rushed for 699 yards this season, 11 touchdowns, an average of 6.2 yards every time he touched the ball. Turner gets the handoff, picks up about 5 or 6 yards up across the 30-yard line, close to the 33. As we take a look at the Sonny's Barbecue starting lineups for Marist on defense: Riley, the big defensive left tackle, left end; Rather, Sullivan, Nagodi, Economos on the line. McDermott is the middle linebacker. Lorimer, Alderson, the linebackers, and Winborn, Collinger, Pelkey, and Howell in the defensive backfield. And immediately a penalty, illegal formation, is the call against Washington. I saw the wingback, Damian Hill, go into motion a little bit early on that play.
Just a little case of the pregame jitters, that's all, guys. It's playoffs, big-time football, and hey, doesn't get any better than that. You get a little nervous sometimes.
Ball is back at the 22, so first and 15 for Washington. Hill again lines up in that wing back position, and now the other wing back goes in motion. Hill takes the handoff, coming around from the left wing back position, picks up about 3 yards to the 25-yard line. And it's going to be second down and long for the Bulldogs.
Talk about that guy, Hugh Riley, being a good job, good penetration you see by the defensive line right there. And basically just you have a big group of players from the Marist side of the ball just going after it and getting it done.
Alderson made the tackle for Marist. 52 degrees at kickoff. Feels a lot chillier than that down on the field. Second down. Latrez back to pass. Under a rush. Gets a block. Knocked down from behind. No, he's not knocked down, and he finally is back at the 18-yard line. Economos got a shot at him and knocked him off balance. And Latrez tried to keep his balance and finally stumbled forward to the 18-yard line. Just saw right there the athleticism of Latrez Harrison not to go down after Economos hit him.
Well, I tell you what, you got to give credit to the Marist defense. Basically, nobody was open. I mean, that's what you call definitely a coverage sack. Good pressure by the Marist defensive front. But more importantly, the defensive backs for Marist doing a good job, Jamie, of just keeping them covered.
Yeah, Latrez, you got to wrap him up, because I told you in the pregame talk, you cannot tackle him unless you wrap him up.
Third down and 20. Ball at the 18-yard line. Washington going in reverse. Latrez steps up in the pocket, going to run it himself. Up to the 30-yard line, but stopped at the 31 by Lee Torrance. And it's fourth down in a punting situation for Washington.
Again, Marist applying great pressure to Harrison, and you got to do this all night, or else you're going to have to disrupt their offensive pass rhythm, and they did it on those last two plays, Jamie. A great job of pressure by Marist's front.
Byron Mullen will punt for Washington, standing at about a 16-yard line to take this snap. Ben Collinger stands deep for Marist at his 35. Washington has had trouble with the kicking game. Low snap. Mullen gets it away. Collinger chases it, lets it bounce, and now is going to let it bounce and roll dead at the 26. Collinger almost made the cardinal sin of touching the ball, pulled his hands back just in time. So from the 26, Marist begins their first possession.
Wasn't pretty, but basically what you have is a situation where the ball landed ugly. Ball rolled around, and you see the indecision, and basically that indecision gave him an extra 10 yards.
Sonny's Barbecue starting lineups for Marist on offense. Nichols the quarterback, Russell, Rhino, and Beck in that wishbone offense. Collinger is the wide receiver, and Heller is the tight end. Krause, Edwards, Strozier, Plummer, and Nicholson up front. Ball at the 26-yard line. Dempsey splits out wide to the near side, and now the tight end flip-flops from the far side to the near. Lined up in that wishbone offense. Handoff goes to the fullback, Beck. Beck gets a couple of yards as we take a look at the Sonny's Barbecue starting lineups for Washington on the defensive side of the ball. Brown, Harris, Knapp, and Slaughter up front. Weems is the middle linebacker, with Zachary and Mason on the other outside positions. At linebacker, Rutherford, Delapierre, Lowe, and Latrez Harrison in the defensive backfield. Second down, gain of 2 on that first down carry. Handoff goes to Russell. Russell is hit hard as he crosses the 32-yard line, knocked down by Torres Mosley. And it's going to be third down.
Tell you what, he looked like Jesse Tuggle there, scraping right there. Good job. You see him right down, coming down the line. Good tackle. You see him wrap him up. He grabbed him in a place maybe he shouldn't have grabbed him, but nonetheless, he got the guy down.
Third down for Marist. Marist advanced by whipping Decula last week in the first round of the playoffs. Washington dismantled Murray County. Both these teams coming off big victories in the first round of the playoffs. Third down. Nichols hollers out to the near side receiver. Pitches to Rhino. Rhino has the first down and dropped at the 41-yard line. Latrez Harrison made the stop over on the far side, but not before Kelly Rhino, who's already committed to Georgia Tech, picks up the first down.
And what Washington is doing on defense, and anything third and long, Latrez is moving over from the right corner spot, playing free safety. A lot of people don't know this, but he's even a better free safety prospect than he is a quarterback. So look for him to look for those passing situations with Marist, but he came up with a big tackle.
Collinger splits out to the near side. One receiver from Marist. Handoff goes to Rhino. Big hole across the 50-yard line and down to the 46. Finally stopped by Mosley. Rutherford was there too, but Rhino, big carry.
Great job by Rhino. You see his season numbers there, 580 yards. But look at that gaudy 6.7 yards per carry, 5 touchdowns. This young man, he's a small Rhino, but nonetheless, he might be a Rhino pup.
A charging Rhino on that play, and a first down for Marist at the 46-yard line of Washington. 4.5 minutes into this game, we are scoreless. Washington did nothing with it the first time they had it. Marist with their hands on the ball for the first time tonight. Handoff goes to Rhino again. Rhino down to the 36-yard line. Stop made by Anthony Weems, the middle linebacker. And close to a first down is Kelly Rhino.
I tell you, one of the problems that they're having is that defensively what you're looking at is they're submerging. What they're doing, the defensive linemen, they know when you play against a wishbone type or a triple option type team, you have trouble with the ball. You have to do your job. You have to cover your man. But unfortunately, they're getting no help out of the defensive line because the defensive line is submerging underneath their defenders, not giving them any help at all up front.
Second down and short. Ball at the 36 or right at it. Winborn splits out to the near side this time. Nichols tried to pitch it and is stopped before he can turn the corner. Big number 34, Jerry Slaughter, was there to knock him down. Nichols thought about pitching to Russell, but he could never get rid of the ball.
Now you see on that particular play, he plays off of a Rhino attempted block, does a good job of fighting him off, getting his hands down, shucking the defender, or shucking the running back, and making the tackle on the quarterback.
I think Slaughter heard what you said on the previous play.
Well, he's not one of the guys down. His defensive line is down. They've got to do a little bit more because they're just submerging down to the ground.
Loss of 2 on the play. It's 3rd down and 3 now. Ball back at the 38. Russell with his first carry of the ball game tries to pick up the first down and is met by a very determined Washington group of defenders led by Johnny Rutherford over at the 36-yard line. They're going to bring the chains out and measure this thing.
Yeah, Russell did a good job of breaking that first tackle, but this play really illustrates the team speed on defense of Washington. Here, Johnny Rutherford, who runs a 4.4 40, 6'2", 200 pounds, came up and made a big play. I think they're going to stop him short here, and they'll have to probably go for it on 4th and short.
Well, it's definitely 4-down territory as you look at it. Offensively, Washington, they went 3 and out, so you got to think the defense is going to play a strong game. Coach feels good, and with the pressure that he has, so it's definitely a situation where he could go for it here on 4th down.
Here you go. You got a great shot of the chains as they come across the field and stretch this thing out. Let's see right here if Marist has picked up a first down. And they're going to be short by about a foot. 1 foot short of the first down. I imagine Marist is going for it right here on 4th and 1.
Yeah, it's a perfect opportunity. And what it does really is it gives confidence in your defense. All those defensive players right now are thinking to themselves, hey, coach believes enough in us and what we've done in just one series to possibly go for this on 4th and short situation. So it really pumps some air into your defense as well, just to give them encouragement to play on.
6:05 to play, or rather 6:05 played here in the first quarter. 5:55 to play in the quarter. Washington and Marist are scoreless. The Eagles here on their first possession have driven from their 26-yard line. Washington did nothing with it the first time they had it. Now on 4th down and a foot to go. Let's see what Marist does. Hollinger splits out wide to the far side. Hand off to Rhino. He's got the first down and more. Rhino down to the 31-yard line. Mosley was there for the Bulldogs, but not before Rhino picks up the first down.
I tell you what, that is just a good old-fashioned, just mano-a-mano blocking clinic on offensive line play. Doing a great job of just moving the pins, as we say, moving the ball.
1st and 10 for Marist. Ball is at the 31. Pitch to Russell. Russell, 25. Russell, 20. And jerked down inside the 15-yard line, but another first down for Marist. I believe that was Rutherford who knocked him down, or was it McGinty?
I
Kenny Arnold.
I tell you what, Washington's going to truly need some R&R after Russell and Rhino keep just pounding on him. You see right here, here's the big play capability. Rhino's your steady black back, kind of reminds me of Rocky Blyer, and then you have DeFranco Harris, the guy who can get the ball and move it down the field in big groups.
It was Rutherford who made the tackle.
And we talked about Slaughter making the big play a couple plays prior on that third down. Well, that time he got sucked in and totally missed his assignment.
Let's go down on the sideline to Bo Bott.
Well, thanks, guys. And coach just came into the huddle and said if they stay in this defense, then all guys in the middle of the Washington defensive front are diving on the ground, and they think they can handle them. So look for something up the gut here.
1st and 10 for Marist. Timeout has been called on the field. 5:15 to play in the first quarter. Marist and Washington scoreless, but the War Eagles have driven from their 26-yard line down to the 15-yard line here on their first possession with a steady dose of Rhino and Russell.
You see, you know, what Bo was talking about basically is this kind of what I was alluding to earlier. What you see is the defensive linemen, they're trying to just wad up the middle, but what they're doing is they're actually playing too low. So what the Marist offensive linemen are doing is basically kind of just laying on top of them and just moving them out, because what they're doing is trying to really stop any penetration, trying to let their linebackers do the job. Jamie Newberg, you alluded to earlier in pregame, talking about how Washington knows they have to let the linebackers make the plays and players have to be unselfish. But somehow what they're going to have to do is get some help from their defensive line as far as coming up, not so much just going down to the ground.
Yeah, when you're playing this type of defense against a triple option, it's assignment defense. You got to play your responsibilities, and Marist has just done a good job putting hat on hat and beating them off the ball.
But the thing is, you got to make plays. Your defensive line, you're still going to have to get plays. You're going to have to get penetration. Yes, they're keeping those guys off the linebackers, but at the same time, you got to get some kind of help, because what happens is, you know, defensive linemen can make plays in this defense also, as opposed to, you know, just kind of doing your assignment. So what you do is you get penetration, you get up the field, and that'll cause you to really screw this off.
Yeah, disruption of rhythm, similar to what Marist did to Washington with their passing game on that first quarter.
A gigantic crowd here at Hughes Spalding Stadium in Dunwoody, overflow crowd here at this beautiful facility at Marist. War Eagles and Washington scoreless, but Marist has it 1st and 10 at the 15-yard line. Beck, the lone back now, lined up behind Nichols. And a fumble, snap. And Washington indicates they have the ball, and the officials have yet to indicate that. Let's see what we've got right here. Nichols says he came up with it. Nichols argues his case with the officials. Still no indication from the officials as of yet. And now you got it. Washington has recovered the fumble.
Big turnover. That's something, you want to talk about a momentum changer. That's what Washington needed to get back in this ball game. I mean, just a momentum changer. The miscue with the quarterback and the center exchange, I guess that's what happened.
Let's go down on the sideline to Bo Bott.
Well, thanks, guys, and that's what they wanted to do. The center wanted to lie on him so quickly, as Jamie said, that he just forgot to snap the ball. We'll come back and talk about what Coach Rodney Cofield actually did to stop in the action right here. So I'll tell you what he told me before the game, and that is this is definitely an X and O game. Marist being as stout as they've been, look for him to open it up here. Latrez Harrison doesn't have that ankle. He seems to be sound.
Harrison, the quarterback. Washington has just dodged a big bullet with the fumbled snap by Marist, and they take over again. Handoff goes to the freshman Turner. Turner tries to go at left tackle and picked up maybe 4 or 5 yards up to the 20-yard line. Stop was made by Ryan McDermott. A flag is down on the field.
I think we might have a legal procedure here once again, or maybe somebody, yep, a legal procedure, it looks like.
Yep, we do.
I tell you what, you know, this reminds me, we had a game a few weeks back where, you know, the team couldn't, I guess it was Forest Park, couldn't find a way to get their rhythm early in the football game. Now we see a team over here in Washington doing the very same thing, having problems. Their first snap, the first snap of this game, they had a 5-yard penalty for illegal motion, and here we go again, their first possession of this drive after the big turnover, the same thing.
Well, exactly. You take a look at tonight's officials, led by referee Randy Robinson, and you're right, Washington on their first possession goes 5 yards. But the 5-yard penalty negated that, so instead of a 2nd and 5, they had a 1st and 15, and that's exactly what they have right here, a 1st and 15 with the ball way back at the 9-yard line. Turner is the back, lined up behind Harrison. Hill and Lee are the wing backs, lined up on either side. Turner, big hole up the middle. Comes out across the 20, cuts back into the middle of the field up to the 36-yard line, and a first down for Washington. Finally stopped by Ryan McDermott, the middle linebacker, but not before Nicholas Turner rips off 27 yards up to the 36-yard line.
That's what you call the Latrez factor right there. The defense for Marist is so in tune in trying to get to the great quarterback. What they're doing is getting such penetration of the field. You see they run a trap play right there, taking advantage of the penetration of Marist.
And now a timeout has been called by the officials as one of the Washington ball players has some trouble with his helmet. That is the right guard, Todd Haslam. And we have an equipment timeout here by the official as they check things out here. And now it's just a quick timeout, and they're going to come back up to the line.
Tell you what, that was a very big play there. And I look at number 77. It kind of reminds me of myself there. Larry Ashley, you know, I was about that size when I played football, short and round, like Bobby Bogdan said, 6 foot by 6 foot. You see number 77 there? I tell you what, that's a body that'll mash some people right there.
First and 10 for Washington. Ball is at the 36-yard line. 4:10 to play here in the first quarter. We're scoreless at Hughes Spalding Stadium in Dunwoody, Marist, and Washington. Second round of the state playoffs. Handoff goes to Turner. Turner fights for a couple of yards right there in the middle of the field. It was Adam Lorimer, strong side linebacker, making the stop for Marist.
You see on this particular play, what they try to do is run outside. Where they had their success was actually running trap action, something downhill right now. That's something that there's a fine, there's a fine line between which plays you have to run. On that particular play, you run lateral. Because of the penetration, the quick hitting plays are the plays that are really going to work.
Second down, ball is at the 38.5-yard line for Washington. Marist showing blitz. Trying to get away from Hugh Riley. He does. Latrez trying to turn the corner and finally run out of bounds at about the 43-yard line. Big old Hugh Riley, who leads this Marist ball club with 7 quarterback sacks. Shot in there from the defensive end position. Had a shot at Latrez, but he got away.
Jamie, here, your magazine, D1 versus D1 right there. You got the battle.
That's right. And, this is a broken play, and Latrez just had to do it all on his own, got outside, and got 4 or 5 positive yards. And, there's a perception that Washington is a pass-happy team. It's quite the contrary. They're pretty much 50-50 in the ratio of run-pass, and obviously Latrez runs the ball a lot, but Nicholas Turner is going to be a factor tonight, and they have got to run the football to win this football game.
Third down and 2. Ball at the 44. Getting late in the first quarter. Turner gets the handoff. Not going to get back to the line of scrimmage. He didn't get there because of Nick Pelkey, the strong safety who shot up there and knocked him down, and it's 4th down.
Again, there you go again, but that's a play, again, we talked about where you move the play laterally. They need to run north and south. They're not going to have much success running the ball outside because you can see players when you run outside. But what happens if you hit them real quick and you hit them hard north and south, those are the plays that you're going to have most of your success with.
Collinger stands at his 25 to take this punt from Byron Mullen. High snap, no rush, short punt. It's going to hit at the 38 and roll dead at the 34. So with 2:18 to play in the first quarter, Marist and Washington are scoreless.
Something special happens when a family sits down and enjoys.
Welcome back. 2:17 to play in the first quarter. Marist and Washington scoreless. Marist with their hands on the ball for the second time tonight. Pitch goes to Russell. Russell across the 50. Russell down the sideline. And he's finally caught at the 20-yard line.
Wow.
Brandon Russell sprinting down the sideline. Had it not been for Brian Lowe, he would have been in the end zone.
You talk about the home run capability, and that's what we look at. You talk about Rhino doing his thing, and this is the guy right here who can make it happen. Look at those feet. I mean, running like a gazelle. Great block right there by number 41.
41. Rob Beck
block.
made the block to make that play happen right there, to go for a gargantuan yardage there, but he put that guy on his butt. Great block by Rob Beck.
But give Brian Lowe credit for making the tackle also.
First and 10. Ball is at the 21-yard line. Marist. Handoff goes to Rhino. Rhino just gets a couple of yards across the 20 down to the 19. That was Mosley again who made the stop for Washington.
I tell you what, we got a little war going on here. Jerry Slaughter is having a field day. Watch Jerry Slaughter right here. You see, oh, well, I guess they won't run the play. I tell you what, Jerry Slaughter is having a good time out there. Does a good job of flat backing the guy, as we call it. When you see that offensive lineman rumbling and bumbling and stumbling after you, when a linebacker puts you down on the deck, you call that flat backing a guy.
Second down and 9. Ball is at the 19.5-yard line. Wishbone offense there for Marist. Handoff goes to Russell. Russell is hit as he crosses the 15 and dropped down at the 13 by Aaron McGinty. Shy of the first down by about 3 yards.
Good tackle by McGinty there, but you see Russell right here doing a good job. You see he doesn't get touched until he's 3 yards past the line of scrimmage. And look, as we say, fall forward. You know, very important that running backs fall forward because you get that extra yard or two.
And Will Heller did a great job of a kick-out block on Slaughter on that play to create the little opening.
Third down. They need to get to the 11. Ball at the 13.5. Handoff goes to Beck, the fullback. Actually, it goes to Russell, the halfback, and Russell has the first down inside the 10. They fake the handoff to Beck. That faked me for a moment. Russell got the second handoff and got the first down inside the 10-yard line.
Jamie, he's showing you he's versatile. He's got power as well. He's not just a fast, fleet of foot young man. He's got power too.
Oh, he is definitely one of the best backs in the state. Guy's only a junior, so we'll be talking about him a lot next season.
36 seconds to play in the quarter. Marist has it, first and goal at the 7. Last time they were down here, they fumbled a snap from center. Beck got the handoff that time, and he trips and falls forward to about the 6-yard line. Looks like he stumbled over the back foot of his own man. Mosley was there to make sure he didn't go any further.
Beck went over there and told Coach, hey, Coach, you see this block? Wait till you see this block I have. Give me the ball. All the big guy, you see right there, he trips over his offensive lineman's foot because that was a breakout. That was an actual touchdown had he not tripped over his offensive lineman's leg.
5 seconds left in the quarter, and Marist is content to let the clock run out. We've played 12 minutes from Hughes Spalding Stadium in Dunwoody. Top-ranked Marist and 5th-ranked Washington are scoreless. Second down and goal for Marist as they come up to the ball at the 6-yard line. Start of the second quarter. We are scoreless to this point. Nichols pitches to Rhino. Rhino trying to get outside. Rhino's in the end zone, touchdown. Kelly Rhino on the 6-yard toss from Paul Nichols. And the War Eagles have taken a 6-0 lead.
Good execution on a good football play, taking advantage of the far side, the long side of the field. And basically that was a play where they just ran the option, pitch the ball, and just say, get to the corner. You run to the flag. That's all they're asking the guy to do. Run to the flag.
Danny Marshall comes on for the PAT. First play of the second quarter. Marist breaks the scoreless tie. Marshall puts it through the uprights, and with 11:52 to play in the first half, Marist leads Washington. It's 7-0. Six-yard touchdown run by Kelly Rhino. 8 seconds into the second quarter has given Marist a 7-0 lead here on Washington in the second round of the state playoffs.
Yeah, Rhino got in because Brandon Russell threw a great block on that play, so Russell can run, catch, and block.
Damian Hill stands deep at his 12-yard line to take this kickoff from Brian Dempsey. They try to pooch kick the last time. This is a high kick. It's going to be taken at the 20-yard line, and bringing it into the middle of the field is Kenneth Kennedy. And Kenneth Kennedy, who has not been a factor in this game as of yet, is dropped at the 25, and that's where Washington will start this second quarter.
You know, you talk about in football, you talk about the little thing. You see that drive there, 6 plays, 66 yards, 2 minutes and 25 seconds. But you talk about the little things. On that last kickoff, Brandon Russell basically was the first guy downfield. Does he make the tackle? No. But what he does, he's an unselfish player. He draws attention to him.
Washington comes up to the ball. They line up 2 receivers out to the far side, and now flags go down. It looks like they had too many men on the field as they came up to the line of scrimmage. Another big mistake for Washington.
Washington is really imploding right now. Offensively, I mean, they just have not been able to get on track. It just seems like one thing after another. I don't know if it's the pregame jitters or whatever it is, Jamie, but they're just having problems getting on track.
And the bad thing is that it's 3 consecutive penalties on starting drives on first down. So it immediately puts them in a hole every first down they've been starting a drive. So let's see if they can come back. You know, Latrez has got to take the ball into his own hands and create something now.
I really like to see him get back to the quick hitting trap plays, because that's where you're gonna really do your damage. Take advantage of them rushing the passer.
This is Washington's 3rd possession. They've started each of them with a 1st and 15. Ball is at the 20-yard line. Just underway here in the second quarter. Marist has just taken a 7-0 lead. Handoff, Turner. Flag is down again. Turner crosses the 25 up to the 26-yard line. And let's see if we have another penalty on Washington.
Again, you see they have success. That's where they're getting most of the yards, running that trap play, running it right up the middle, right between the tackles. There you see, Matt, once again, 4 penalties, all on first down. So that's 4 penalties on first down.
Yeah, it's going to back them up another 5 yards and make it a first down and 20 back at the 15-yard line. And Washington has been their own worst enemy in this ballgame.
See right here, good trap, good job by the offensive line. Get good positive 7 or 8 yards on first down play. That's where the strength of that defense, or that's where the strength of the play is going to be. That's where they're going to get the holes, and that's where they're going to be able to run the football. Running outside right now is just not a situation that's conducive for this football team.
It's going to back it up to the 15-yard line. And for some reason, the clock is running. Now the officials stop it. Clock was running as they were marking off the penalty, and now the officials point that out. And I think they're going to try to put some more time back on the clock, or are they? Well, they lost a few seconds there. I don't know if they're going to try to correct that or not. But they did lose some time there on the clock, marking it off as they were marking off the penalty.
And this is a good time right here where Latrez Harrison really needs to kind of take control of this football team and tell the guys, hey guys, it's going to be all right. Concentrate, focus, we'll be fine. We can do this. We have a good football team, because they do.
Neither team has yet to throw a pass in this ballgame. Latrez back to pass, steps up, throws deep for Kennedy, who's open, and just beyond the outstretched arms of Kenneth Kennedy at the 40-yard line.
I don't know if you guys saw what I saw, but if you saw what I saw, I think you saw a quarterback take the ball with his wrist and flick the ball about 50 yards. Watch this. He doesn't set his feet. He's looking around. You see him scrambling around, trying to find an open guy. And watch that little wrist flick. My goodness. Randall Cunningham has nothing on that kid right there.
I also saw a wide receiver that turned it into another gear as he zoomed past his 2 defenders.
Yeah, he puts a little more air under that ball, and it's 6.
2nd down and 20.
What a
ball
talent.
is back at the 15-yard line.
Well, Marist has seen something in film prep, and they've been getting into Harrison each of the 3 times they've been trying to throw the football, so they got to make some blocking adjustments.
3 receivers for Washington. Latrez under a heavy rush again, throws deep, looking over on the far side, and almost caught at the 50-yard line by Antoine Church. Antoine Church was out there, almost great. It made a great grab at the 48.
My mama's in town, and I know I shouldn't say this, but this was a true revival. Watch all the blue jerseys just swoon in and swarm all over Latrez Harrison. I tell you what, Marist's defense is doing a good job of game planning, getting pressure on the quarterback, and I tell you what, that was almost a great catch by the receiver.
Yeah, he threw it across his body 50 yards, and it was up in the air a while, but it was on the money, and Church just did not come down with the ball.
3rd down and 20. Ball is at the 15. Again, 3 receivers for Washington. And again, flags go down. No flags go down. A timeout has been called by Washington. 10:17 to play here in the first half, and Marist leading Washington 7-0. We'll be back after this timeout on Media One Channel 33. Third down and 20. Ball is at the 15-yard line. 4 receivers split out for Washington, 2 on each side. Again, Latrez out of the shotgun. Heavy rush. Fires in the middle. Intercepted at the 36-yard line by Collinger. Collinger's inside the 15. Collinger's for the corner. Did Collinger get in? He did get in. A 36-yard interception return for touchdown by Ben Collinger, and Marist has a 13-0 lead.
Wow. Speed. Jamie, is he in one of your books?
Not yet.
Great speed by Collinger on that particular play, I tell you.
Latrez Harrison fired a bullet. Unfortunately for Washington, Collinger was on the other end of it and took it back 36 yards the other way.
Yeah, it looked like somebody ran the wrong direction, and he threw the ball to a spot where he thought the receiver would be, and he turned out the other way.
Well, part of it also is just the pressure that they're getting right now. The Marist defense is doing a good job of getting a lot of pressure on Latrez Harrison, and right now I think he might be just a little bit flustered because just think about it. Every time he drops back, there's a sea of 4 or 5 guys. I mean, you know, Deacon Riley of my church, and all the boys are just back there every time you turn around.
Marshall on for the PAT. Ball is placed down, and the kick is up, and it is good. And with 10:04 to play here in the first half, Marist has increased their lead to 14-0. To play in the first half. Marist has just taken a 2-touchdown lead on the 36-yard interception return by Ben Collinger. That followed by just a minute and 48 seconds, the 6-yard touchdown run by Kelly Rhino. And quickly after a scoreless first quarter, the War Eagles have put Washington in a 2-touchdown hole.
Yeah, like I was saying earlier, Latrez Harrison really struggling right now as far as getting too much pressure on him. And what's got to happen is they've got to figure out a way to do something.
Another high kickoff. Kenneth Kennedy's going to field it at the 25-yard line and try to get in the middle of the field, and he actually lost a yard on the play as Brandon Russell made the tackle. Let's go down on the sideline to Bobot.
These are pass catching gloves are very light. Marist isn't wearing these, of course. They're a Reebok team.
There you go. 10 minutes to play here in the first half, and Marist has now jumped out to a 14-0 lead. And again, a flag goes down as Washington has 12 men on the field as they come up to the line of scrimmage.
I tell you, I mean, you cannot start football plays. You cannot start drives this way. Basically, they are just imploding. They are killing themselves. Somehow, somebody needs to call a timeout and just settle the guys down. I don't know whether it is the excitement of the playoffs. I find it hard to believe that last week's game, they had this kind of problem.
And don't forget, of course, you can catch this game again on Saturdays and Sundays at 8:30, and tomorrow we have bonus coverage at 3:30 in the afternoon, and Tuesdays at 6 o'clock, your chance to watch this Marist and Washington game all over again tomorrow afternoon and tomorrow night. First and 15 again for Washington from the 20-yard line. Marist shows blitz, handoff goes to Turner. Turner doesn't get anything, maybe a yard to the 21-yard line.
Jamie, you alluded to it on the prior drive. But this is where Latrez needs to settle down his team. He is the All-American. He is the leader. They got to get focused and they got to get poised real quickly, or they're going to get blown out of this football game. And he has to take it upon his shoulders to get his team settled down.
Second and 13 for Washington as they come up to the ball at the 22-yard line, 21-yard line actually. 3 receivers, they split 2 up top and 1 down here on the bottom. Again, blitz showing by Marist as Alderson walks up to the line. And here he comes. Harrison steps up in the pocket, going to run for it himself. Comes out this way to the 30 and out of bounds at the 34-yard line and close to a first down. And he may have got it depending upon where he stepped out. It was McDermott, the middle linebacker, came over here and forced him out of bounds. But I think Harrison may have picked up the first down, and he did.
It's like the old Toyota commercial. You asked for it, you got it, Jamie. Toyota. And this particular play, Latrez Harrison takes it upon his shoulders, does a good job, scrambles, and does what he does.
Yeah, you know, the middle of the field is open when that blitz is coming, and a screen or a quarterback draw is going to work for a good portion of the night.
Arnold splits out to the near side. Kennedy and Britton are out to the far side for Washington. And an official's whistle here, and he stops the play with 8:57 to play here in the first quarter. And now the officials want to talk about something as the ball is 1st and 10 at the 35-yard line. Don't forget, Sports Unlimited each and every weeknight at 9 o'clock right here on Media One Channel 33. Don't forget to join us on Wednesday night. One of the pleasant surprises of the Atlanta Falcons season. Defensive tackle Shane Dronette will be our guest. Shane Dronette, an All-American out of the University of Texas and celebrating the Longhorns' big victory over Texas A&M this afternoon. He will join us Wednesday night on Sports Unlimited.
I know, Matt, you've been up in the mountains. Did you get a chance to see Ricky Williams with his performance today?
Heard about it.
Heard about it. Oh, they don't have TVs up there,
no.
huh?
TV hasn't been invented in the mountains yet.
Now, knowing you like I know you, I'm surprised you weren't standing on the roof kind of with your hand up in one direction, trying to get a signal down.
With some aluminum foil into my finger, right?
Absolutely.
Heard it was a great game, though. I did see Randy Moss, wow. And I did see the officials at overtime for Pittsburgh and Detroit. I did see all those things. 1st and 10, ball is at the 35-yard line for Washington. Blitz showing for Marist. Handoff. Turner right up the middle, and Turner gets up to the 44-yard line and close to a first down.
Again, that's your bread and butter play. I mean, that's the play that you got to run. You got to run quick hitting plays. You can't take it. You can't take the chance and running laterally. Good job, you see, by the offensive lineman doing a good job of trapping. Number 54 does a good job of getting up inside the guy, and you see there it is. Number 1 doing a good job of running down the football field, but it's tight and it's quick.
2nd down and 1. Handoff, Turner again. Turner has the first down, and Moore trying to get outside, out to the 50. The 45, cuts back, the 40. Great run by Nicholas Turner down to the 38-yard line.
Jamie, you talked about Nicholas Turner early in the pregame.
Yeah, we saw Damone Boyd last week, only a sophomore. This is a freshman, Nicholas Turner. Had a great game on Media One against Thurl a few weeks ago, and here he is showing his stuff. Has great speed, gets to the outside, and here he cuts back in the middle and just gets positive yardage on his own. They need a big game from him tonight. He's stepping it up on this drive.
15-yard game by Nicholas Turner down to the 37-yard line of the Marist War Eagles. And with 8 minutes to play here in the first half, Washington's trying to get back in this game. They trail 14-0. Harrison fires over to the near side. It's complete inside the 30 and down inside the 20, and finally driven out of bounds is Kenny Arnold at the 14-yard line.
Now, this is the Washington team that is what we've expected to see. This is the Washington team that was ranked number 1 in the state. You see a good job right there. Watch your chest there, number 12. Be careful now. You don't want to throw the ball through his chest, but you see right there, good job stiff arming, using his free arm, and where's the ball? On the outside. Get the ball outside. Very well coached.
They spot it at the 15, 1st and 10 for Washington. Turner with the handoff, met hard at the line of scrimmage and dropped, and the ball is loose and picked up, and rumbling out to the 33-yard line is Nick Pelkey. And Pelkey picked up the fumble and took it back to the 33.
Wow, what a stick. Now you want to talk about putting your helmet on somebody, putting a hat on a hat. Great defensive play right there.
Adam Lorimer was the guy who dislodged the ball from Nicholas Turner, and Pelkey was the one who picked it up and took it back about 18 yards to the 33.
I tell you what, though, but for Washington, they still have reason to be encouraged. The score is 14-0, but it really doesn't matter because what they did, they had success offensively. They can move the football, and they know they can do it now.
1st and 10, ball is at the 33 for Marist. They've dodged a bullet with the big hit by Lorimer. Handoff goes to Rhino. Rhino is hit hard in the middle. Let's go down on the sideline to Bobach.
Thanks, guys. And during the last time that the Marist offense was on this side of the field, they all concurred that the counter trey is going to work. They're going to block down block down. The pen doesn't work. I hope the kids got it. And then they'll pull the right guard and right tackle, and the ball will go this way behind them. They all concur that that will go for Marist.
All right, thank you, Bo. I thought that was invisible ink you were using, so no one can figure out what play you're calling on the sideline.
It's the Bobach telestrator.
He's not the czar yet. That's right.
Second down. Nichols pitches to Rhino. Rhino trying to get outside and hit hard at the 36-yard line. As Mosley was there, and so was DeAnthony Weems.
But the guy who makes the play, watch 28 at the bottom of the screen. He plays off a block right here, uses his hand, pushes the guy, and forces him back up inside, forces Rhino back up inside. Good job, and you see the 3 defenders there. Jamie, you talked about you have to do your job. On that particular play, he forced the play back inside, and now it's 3rd and long.
Yeah, and that comes right into the strength of the defenses, which is their team speed and pursuit. And on this current drive, Washington's defense has stepped it up a notch.
3rd down and 8. Ball is at the 36. They need to get to the 44. Rhino in motion. Nichols hands off to the fullback. Beck whistles. Flags go down. Play is called dead. Nichols signals the penalties against Washington. Washington signals that the penalties against Marist. And illegal procedure in the penalties against Marist.
I tell you what, look at the Washington players. You see them on the sideline, on the field right now. They're getting a little bit more fired up. A couple big plays right there. You notice the linebackers on the backside were saying you can see them yelling and screaming. They're identifying who has the fullback, and that's the key. You see the linebackers. You'll always see when a linebacker say, I got him, I got him. That tells the outside guys, you got the lead back, you got the tailback, and that's how you defend that great Marist running attack.
3rd down and 13. Ball is back at the 31 with 6:08 to play here in the first half. Marist has taken a 14-0 lead on Washington here in the 2nd quarter. Handoff, Rhino. Rhino is met in the backfield by Jerry Slaughter, and it's 4th down in a punting situation for Marist.
Tonight we are in the slaughterhouse. Jerry Slaughter is a one-man. You see we have a penalty. I think an unsportsmanlike conduct penalty might have been thrown. You see the flag down there late after the play. But I mean, truly the slaughterhouse. Jerry Slaughter has made some big plays tonight.
Let's see what the penalty is right here. No indication from the officials as of yet. Personal foul is called against Marist. That's going to back him up 15 yards from the spot of the infraction. And so Marist is going to be punting out of a deep hole here with 5:28 to play in the first half.
All I know is I hope I'm not the guy who caused that penalty, because Coach Chadwick is going to pitch a fit over on the sidelines to somebody. You want to talk about an unselfish guy, a guy who teaches team. You don't find all the great 15 like you talk about Southwest DeKalb. There are a lot of guys from Southwest DeKalb that go on to D1, 200 or 300 players. You don't have that kind of players that come here to Marist, but what you have is probably one of the most disciplined football teams. You see Coach right there, and you look at that vein right there on the right side. Right, I mean, somebody is in a whole lot of trouble. I've seen it. I was a coach. I've had 7 coaches in the NFL. I've seen that vein before.
15-yard mark-off against Marist as they push it back to the 14-yard line. So punting from his goal line will be Joshua Robinson. Nicholas Turner standing at the 50 to take this punt.
And Turner's dangerous.
And let's see if they bring everybody. Heavy rush, and they just did get it away. A wobbly kick off the side of his foot, and it looked like it was partially blocked, and it's dead at the 25, and Washington's got it at the Marist 25, and great field position with 5:12 to play in the quarter.
My guy, Jerry Slaughter, the slaughterhouse once again, striking again. This guy is playing all out. You talk about elevating your football team. Right now, Jerry Slaughter is doing a good job of exciting his team, giving them emotion and letting them know, hey, we can do this, guys.
1st and 10 for Washington. Ball is at the 25-yard line. Latrez, busted play. Now scrambling around back there at the 39-yard line, just looking to do something with it, and finally steps out of bounds way back at the 32, and a flag is down. There was a clip on the play. Looks like Todd Haslam, the offensive lineman, trying to protect his quarterback, hit a guy in the back.
You know, going into this play, I was just getting ready to say, when a situation like this, you got to look to your big-time players to make something happen. And my good old Deacon Riley down there, did a good job of disrupting that football play. He didn't make the tackle, but what he did was he turned Latrez Harrison, and that's something that he had to do. He steps up, makes a big play. You see right here, Latrez is coming out, and there's the Deacon. He doesn't make the play, but nonetheless, he turns it and causes all the problems.
But another first down miscue for Washington. It's happened on every opening drive they've had tonight, and they continue to kind of kill themselves. They're really putting themselves in a hard situation here, first and a mile.
6 penalties now called on Washington. 2 have been called on Marist. This pushes the ball back to the 40-yard line. So instead of the 1st and 17 they would have had, instead of the 1st and 17 that they would have had, actually it's going to push it back farther than the 40 because the clip came at the 38. It pushes it all the way back to the Washington 47-yard line, which is going to make a 1st and 38 for Washington. Well, at least they have 4 downs, right? At least it's not a 3rd and 38. It's a 1st and 38. Maybe that's how you look at it. If you're the coach, if you're Rodney Cofield, hey, at least it's 1st and 38.
I tell you, Washington, I'm sure, had no idea this was going to be the uphill battle they were going to fight. And it's kind of sad to a certain extent because you know the kids can do it, and they're just, a little bit nervous. Right there, you see the referee's left his flag on the field. Pick that up and put it in your pocket. Take it over there and sit down somewhere. Oh, I'm sorry, I had a flashback, a hanky flashback. Forgive me.
He was snapping back. He was flashing back to his days in the NFL.
Well, as you know, playing on the Glanville, I mean, there were a lot of penalties, and that's something, that's why you like the Falcons. That's what the Falcons are doing. They're not killing themselves with penalties, and it's an exciting time to be in the state of Georgia as you talk about the football environment. Georgia Tech, Georgia, here we are, the high school playoffs, the mecca of high school football right here in Atlanta. I tell you what a great time to be in Georgia watching football.
A lot of laundry with Glanville?
Just a little bit.
First and 38, ball is at the 47-yard line, 5:02 to play in the half. Washington again has put themselves in a hole after getting a great gift on the block punt at the 25-yard line. Harrison back to pass, again under a heavy rush, fires in the middle, throws behind his man, looking for Arnold at the 37.
Hugh Riley applying pressure once again, doing a good job of beating his man off the corner. Again, big players make big plays. And Jamie, that's a big-time player, Hugh Riley.
Oh, he's an excellent tight end, defensive end, getting pressure on Latrez Harrison every single time. They drop back to pass, and if you look at Latrez, he had to pick himself up off the ground again.
And correct me if I'm wrong, Latrez Harrison is yet to complete a pass in this game.
Just that one quick hitter.
The one quick hitter.
Correct. That's the only time you didn't have pressure because it was such a quick hit and play.
But that's something you've got to get back to. But second and 38 doesn't help you a whole lot.
4:48 to play in the half. High snap. Latrez brings it in. Again, throws it over to Kenneth Kennedy, who's hit right as the hand touches the ball. And that was Pelkey who put the wood on him there at the 47-yard line. It was Pelkey who picked up that fumble and returned it to the 33-yard line.
Yeah, he read that play. That's a wide receiver screen all the way, and Pelkey does a good job of fighting off the block from Damian Hill and makes the play on Kenneth Kennedy. He saves a big gainer right there.
And it's 3rd down and 38 with the ball still at the 47.5-yard line and 4:44 to play in the half. And Washington, after getting that huge gift, and a timeout, I think, has been called by Washington, and it has. And don't forget, you can check out the Atlanta Business Chronicle. The best business newspaper in Atlanta now is on television, and you can see it Saturdays and Sundays at 8 o'clock in the morning and 8 o'clock in the evening, only on Media One, Channel 33. 4:44 to play here in the first half. Marist, having taken a 14-0 lead on Washington here. A 6-yard touchdown run by Kelly Rhino with 8 seconds gone in the quarter, capping a 6-play, 66-yard drive for Marist. And then just a minute and 48 seconds later, a 36-yard interception returned for a touchdown by Ben Collinger as Latrez Harrison fired the ball in the middle of the field, and Collinger picked it off and took it into the corner of the end zone over on the far side and made it 14-0.
I tell you, I think Coach Rodney Cofield thinks that Rod Serling is kind of just circling the building right now. Wake me up! Somebody wake me up! I mean, this has got to be the twilight zone. I mean, you want to talk about a complete implosion of a football team from the standpoint of penalties. This game right now, I mean, clearly the reason Washington is really not into this football game is for one reason alone. That is penalties. And they've got to find a way to overcome the penalties, settle down, and really get into the mix because they can move the football. They know they can move the football. Now the defense knows they can stop Marist offensively, so it's time for them to put it all together and make this thing happen.
4:44 to play here in the first half. 14-0. Marist leading Washington. 3rd and 38. Ball is at the 47-yard line. Latrez out of the shotgun, again under a heavy rush, rolls to his right to get out of it, dumps it off to Turner, who's open inside the 35, cutting into the middle of the field, down to the 25-yard line and down to the 23.
Wow.
They found Turner alone over on the far sideline, and Turner was able to cut it back into the middle of the field. And a big 28, 29-yard gain for Nicholas Turner, and it gets him a 4th and 9.
Good play calling right there. What you do, you buy Latrez Harrison. Sometimes he moves kind of that floating pocket. You've seen Chris Chandler do that with the Falcons. When the Falcons are having problems with pass protection, doing a good job, good coaching call to move him to the right. And they're going to go for it here on 4th and 9.
Ball at the 24-yard line on 4th and 9. Clock at 4 minutes to play in the half. Latrez fakes the handoff, rolls to his right, has a little time. Now rolling around, pocket breaks down, fires for the end zone. The ball is up in the air and almost intercepted. Flags are down. Let's catch the call. Flags are down on the field. Flags fell at the 20-yard line, so downfield a ways. Let's see what we have here on the call. And we have illegal procedure. Actually, we have an illegal receiver downfield. So Lyman got downfield on the blocking, and that's going to be declined by Marist, and they're going to take over on that.
Well, I tell you what, on that particular play, Larry Ashley, the right tackle, does a great job of pass protecting, buying Latrez Harrison time to go ahead and throw the ball downfield. One of those situations where, you have a breakdown, guys don't know whether you're going to run the ball out. Everybody has that internal clock. Offensive linemen do, expecting the ball to come out. And sometimes if you don't concentrate and look down the field and see where the ball is, you will run downfield and try to go out and get a block.
So 1st and 10 for Marist as they take over on downs at the 24-yard line with 3:51 to play here in the first half. And Marist splits 2 receivers out to the near side. Handoff goes to Beck, the fullback. Beck is wrapped up right at about the 26-yard line and stopped by Brandon Brown. And it's going to be 2nd down.
I tell you, this is a different Washington defense, Jamie. You see right here on the play, good job, good penetration. Guys are making it happen. A different Washington team from the team that started the quarter.
Oh, yeah, they're really getting to the football. They're doing their jobs, hitting their responsibilities, and Marist has had a hard time running up the middle the last 2 series.
2nd down, ball at the 26. Handoff goes to Rhino. Out across the 30-yard line to the 33. Mosley made the stop, but Rhino picked up about 6 or 7 yards on the carry and close to a 1st down at the 33.
That's the old exploding play we used to call it. Sometimes where you have so many people in the hole, basically just a lot of feet, 8 feet in a hole at one time, all just working their way through the hole.
3rd down and 1. Ball is at the 33 and a half. Handoff goes to Rhino. Rhino has the 1st down, tumbling across the 35 up to the 37.5-yard line. And a 1st down for Marist as the clock stops at 2:45.
Uh-oh, well, I think, unfortunately, Jerry Slaughter brought out his Ginsu knife because that's what happened right there. He popped Paul Nichols for 15 yards, basically unsportsmanlike conduct, roughing the passer. That's a situation where you can only be so fired up. He's done a good job really igniting this defense, getting the guys to know that they can play, but you can't have penalties, and particularly with a very explosive team like Marist.
15-yard mark off on the personal foul here. And that's going to bring the ball up to the 47-yard line as we check out the penalties in this ball game. Washington 8 penalties, 80 yards in the first half. Marist 2 penalties for 15 yards. Yes, and that does reflect in the score at being 14-0.
You cannot win football games with penalty lines like that. You have to be exceptionally talented to do so. 8 penalties, 80 yards. That's not going to get it done. They've got to figure a way to settle down.
2 receivers split out top now for Marist. Ball is at the 47 of Washington. Beck gets the handoff, drives across the 45-yard line. Finally stopped by Mosley, the linebacker. Pickup of a couple of yards on the play from Marist as the clock keeps running. It's at 2:15.
You see on that play, good stop. But, you know, going back to Jerry Slaughter, he's going to have a lot of opportunities to hit the quarterback. So he's got to be patient and not try to take the guy because he has a chance to hit the quarterback.
Winborn and Rhino split out top. Pitch goes to Russell. Russell at the 40. Russell at the 35. Russell at the 30. Inside the 20. There goes Russell, but flags are down. Russell just sprints 45 yards for the touchdown, but check the flag over on the far side of the field.
Penalty or not, that guy is quick, and he just showed you why he's going to be one of the top running backs in the state of Georgia next year. The holding call on Marist.
He's going to be?
He's going to be.
Wow. Gee.
He's only a junior, though.
Now you said he's going to be one of the top running backs. Matt, does he look pretty good to you?
He looks like one of the top running backs in the state to me. A 45-yard touchdown run by Brandon Russell has just been negated by a holding call, and that's going to bring it back and push the ball across the 50-yard line.
And there we go. We talked about penalties before, and we talk about how explosive Marist is. On this play, you see right on the outside here, number 14, he's holding, well, we missed the replay right there. But it's one of those situations where, you know, you have to be disciplined.
Let's go down on the sideline to Bo Bach.
Thanks, guys, and I think I found the Marist secret. What's your name? Andrew, what's in here? Cat litter? What does that do?
It keeps the ball dry.
Keeps the ball dry. There you go. Andrew in charge of the cat litter and the Marist secret.
Well, there you go. Now you know. Pitch goes to Rhino. Rhino trying to get outside across the 50, and Rhino is met and driven into the ground by Rutherford at the 45-yard line as the clock continues to run. And 1:25, make that 1:27 as a timeout has been called by Marist.
You know, sometimes there's more information than you need to know. And in this particular case, the kitty litter, a little bit more than I need to know. But watch, getting back to Rhino, does a good job. Watch this at the end of the play. He ends up and takes it to him, gets 3 or 4 more yards, carries 2 guys to get, you know, a few extra yards. Very impressive.
And no kidding, I saw a kitty roaming around the field earlier this afternoon, so you never know what's gone in that kitty litter when you got the little kitties running around the field. So it's something you don't want to think about.
You're not trying to say there's stickum on the ball.
No, I'm not implying that at all, but the possibility does exist. 1:27 to play here in the first half. Timeout has been called by Marist, 3rd down and 9. Just had a 45-yard touchdown run by Brandon Russell, negated by a holding penalty.
It's important for Washington here to come up with a stop because Marist gets the ball in the second half for the kickoff. So they don't want to give up a score here and then give the ball back to Marist in the second half. So it's crucial here they get a stop.
Well, I tell you what, one thing that Washington's got to do, Washington's going to have to work on at halftime. They can talk about what Marist is doing. They've got to figure out a way to keep from shooting themselves in the foot.
Especially on first down.
Handoff, big play, and it's wrapped up by Slaughter. Slaughter is there to stop Brandon Russell. Russell runs in the nickels, and then Slaughter runs into the both of them and throws them to the ground, and it's 4th down.
They did a good job of just keeping onto the ball that time. That could have very easily been a fumble here. Slaughter just disrupts the whole play and brings them down, and they're very lucky, Marist is, that they didn't fumble the football.
That Slaughter play was kind of almost like one of those cartoons where, you know, the guy grabs the whole huddle and just throws out guys until he finds the guy with the ball, and Slaughter finally found the guy with the ball and threw him to the ground. 49 seconds to play here in the first half, and Joshua Robinson on to punt. Last time he punted, it was partially blocked by the Bulldogs, and now a timeout has been called by Washington with 39 seconds left here in the first half. Don't forget, for all the latest highlights, scores, and all the other information you need, it's Atlanta Prep Rally, Saturdays at 6 and 11, Sundays at 11, Mondays at 10, and Wednesdays at 5:30 only here on Media One Channel 33.
Matt, I wanted to get back to something we were talking about earlier as you talk about the or talking about Jerry Slaughter hitting the quarterback. When you have a running quarterback, what you do, you're not trying to hurt the quarterback, but what you can do is you can punish the quarterback. You can make him remember that, hey, I'm running this option, I'm running this type of offense. And so what you do, Matt, is you get an opportunity to basically make the guy a little timid. You know, you remember the Florida State-Georgia Tech game, same thing happens. Joe Hamilton, put your hat on Joe Hamilton, and Florida State came up with success. But let's go down to Bo Bach on the sidelines, because I'm sure Bo's got a real goodie for us.
Jamie, I just wanted to tell you that Coach Chadwick called that timeout right at the last second because he didn't think his team was set, and he saw them block that last punt. So he wanted to make sure his guys were set and ready to block, particularly on that left side.
Ball at the 48-yard line, 4th down. Robinson standing at his 37. Turner stands deep for Washington. This time they do get it away. Turner is going to let it hit, and it bounces off the back of a Marist player at the 17-yard line. Actually hit Schaefer Spires in the back, so Washington will start from their 16-yard line with 33 seconds left in the first half. And what do you do, Mr. Dukes, with 33 seconds left in the half? You know what's happened to you here in the first half. Do you just take a knee and say, let's try to regroup at halftime, or do you go deep and try to see if you can cut into what's been a really poor first half for you?
Well, what you probably try to do, one would think that, you know, you try to kill the clock, you try to run a play and just kill the clock. But, you know, with the quarterback, Latrez Harrison, you might want to take a shot, give a guy a chance, and then run it out maybe on the next play. But you definitely don't want to turn it over down here with a fumble.
I throw a screen to Nick Turner. That's what I do.
Handoff goes to Turner. Turner up across the 25 and out across the 32 to the 33-yard line. So a big game by Nicholas Turner, the freshman running back for Washington, as they move the chains to set the clock stops. As they move the chains, Michael Howell made the stop. 7 carries, 55 yards for Turner, 25 seconds, and the clock is running here late in the first half. Out of the shotgun, Latrez steps up, gonna throw it deep. He's got Kenneth Kennedy out there, and he overthrows him at the 27-yard line.
I think he threw the ball into a different time zone. I mean, that kid has got a strong arm. Reminds me of Brett Favre. We played Brett Favre's first game when they played in the Dome. He was at Green Bay. You see the quarterback right here, steps up, does a good job. Offensive line doing a good job giving him time to throw the ball, and he just kind of just cranks it out and just kind of tosses it up into the 3700th row.
Well, I tell you what, if he threw it into another time zone, Kenneth Kennedy almost ran into that time zone. He streaked past Collinger out there on the far side. Now, I know Collinger kind of let up on the play, as did Kennedy. They thought Harrison was going to run. Firing out here for Kennedy at the 37-yard line. Jukes a man at the 40, still on his feet, trying to get outside, and finally dropped at the 44-yard line. Washington doesn't have any timeouts remaining. 2 seconds are left on the clock. I don't think they're going to be able to spike the ball or anything like that. That's what they're going to try to do. Going to try to get up here to the line and try to spike it in a hurry and stop the clock as soon as they set it. They're up there on the line. Let's see if they get the break on the clock. Here's the snap, and he bobbled the ball, and that's going to be the end of the first half. Marist says they have it. I think it doesn't matter because the clock's showing triple zeros, and that is going to be the end of the first half. We have played 24 minutes from Hughes Spalding Stadium in Dunwoody, and top-ranked Marist leads Washington 14-0. Before we go to break, let's go down on the sideline to Bo Bach.
Well, we had Coach Chadwick. He's taking off his headset right now, Matt, and here he comes right now. Coach, good first half, you were able to run it on them and control the clock for the most part.
Well, pretty much. I was a little bit disappointed in that last possession that we had. We didn't, take care of some business right there. We were in excellent field position, and we got the holding call thrown on us, and that set us back and put us off schedule. But there's still a lot of football to be played, and we're going to have to hang tight right here.
They're a very dangerous team. They can put the ball up in the air. They can throw it a long way, and they're very quick with their delivery. What are you going to tell them at halftime?
Well, we just got to continue to play coverage. I think we're letting go of those receivers. When the quarterback pulls the ball down and starts scrambling out of the pocket, we've kind of come up and stood dead in our tracks back there, and they've gotten behind us, and he's thrown the ball a long way. Thank goodness they hadn't been able to complete it yet.
Well, third quarter's been your quarter lately, so good luck, Coach.
Thank you. Appreciate it.
All right. right, thank you, Bo. 14-0. Marist leads Washington at the break here in the second round of the state playoffs.
Second round of the playoffs of the Winn-Dixie High School football game of the week. And with me right now is Mr. Michael Marr, and he's the headmaster here at Marist. And Mr. Marr, it was an excellent first half for your team.
Yeah, we played really well. We were hoping to stretch it out there a little bit right at the end of the half, but this is a good opponent, and this game's far from over. We expect a tough second half.
Wonderful stadium, great support. Washington brought great support with them. You've got to be very excited about tonight's event.
We are. This is what high school sports is all about, and we're happy to be in the playoffs this time of year and to be able to host Washington and to have this happen in our community.
Tell us a little bit about Marist.
Well, we're a Catholic college prep school, grades 7 through 12. We enroll about 1,025 students. We've been in existence since 1901, and we've been out in this location since 1957.
And academics at Marist?
Academics, we feel, are very strong here. Spirituality is important to us, as are extracurricular activities, athletics, fine arts. We try to develop the whole student is what our philosophy is.
Well, Mr. Marr, thanks for being with us on the Life University Minute, and good luck in the second half.
Thank you.
And also with us at this time is Dr. Shirley Kilgore, who's the principal of Booker T. Washington High School. And Dr. Kilgore, good to see you once again.
It's good to see you again, Bo.
We're making it happen. I knew you had a good-looking team when we saw you in mid-season, and here you are in the playoffs.
And we're happy to be here, and it's not over yet. We're looking to come back out strong in the second half. This is a game the coaches and the players have been waiting on, and we have some unfinished business to take care of.
Coaches and the players and the fine contingent that you brought with you, with your band in the background, they sound great as usual, but you brought a huge crowd with you tonight.
We have a tremendous alumni support. This is the 75th year for Washington, and a lot of former graduates are coming out to support the team.
Tell us a little bit about the Booker T. Washington High School.
Booker T. Washington High School serves as a beacon in history. It was the first high school in the state of Georgia for African Americans, founded in 1924. As I said, this is the 75th year, so we're looking forward to a lot of great things, including this win tonight.
And I know at mid-season, your academics were in great shape, and you told us all about them at that time.
We're very proud of Booker T. Washington High School, where learning comes alive. We're more than just about athletics. We're about academics. We have a tremendous alumni support, tremendous community support. We have a lot of parent involvement. There are a lot of things of which to be proud of at Washington High School.
Dr. Shirley Kilgore of Washington High, thanks for being with us.
Thank you.
And Matt, that's it for the sideline. We'll be back and talk with Tommy Gillibo in just a moment.
All right, thank you, Bo. I'm joined by Father Hartnett up here. He's the president of Marist, and thank you very much for being with us. And we got a heck of a ball game going on here.
Well, I'm excited, and actually I'm very happy at the way the score stands at the moment.
Tell us all about the school and what goes on here at Marist. We heard spirituality being a big part of what happens here at Marist.
That's right. We're a private Catholic high school. We've been here since 1901, and we seek excellence in spirituality, academics, athletics, and the arts.
Tell us about the Marist mission.
The Marist mission, the way I would serve it in one word: service. Use your talents for the benefit not just of yourself, but for the community at large, and for your brothers and sisters, especially those most who are in need.
So with your students, you're looking for not just the athlete, not just the academician. You're looking for the well-rounded student to send the children out of this school when they're done after 12 years on to have a well-rounded life.
I couldn't have said it any better than you just said it.
Well, then maybe you can hire me for your public relations job. Thank you very much.
My pleasure.
Father Hartnett. Father Hartnett is the president here at Marist, and that's the Life University Principal's Minute, and we'll be back with more second half halftime festivities, I should say, following this timeout on Media One Channel 33.
Guest is Tommy Gillibo, the director of the Georgia High School Athletic Association. Tommy, the playoffs have been great, but they're going to get even better because you've revised the format.
Well, Bo, we really think it is. What we've done is we have arranged it where no team in the same region will meet until they get to the Georgia Dome or the semifinal round. And we really think that's going to be a good thing to happen. And we could even have two teams from the same region playing for the state championship in this way, and we really think that's...
Well, that's probably better than getting them in round 1 or round 2 where they're beating each other up, usually for the second time, and maybe not get the best opponent in the semifinal and championship game.
That's exactly the way we feel about it. We have certain regions, for instance, Region 1 AAA, who will be playing one of these teams. They still have 4 teams in that region still playing.
Right.
So, and they could have still 4 teams after tonight, you know, so it's great that we can have things like that, and I think it's going to work out real well.
When was the last time you got run over by a band?
Oh, that's right. It's a great band, too.
Thanks, Tommy, for being with us. We saw some great bands this year. Matt, what about those halftime stats?
I tell you what, you almost got run over by a band right there. Let's take a look at those halftime stats. Marist, of course, leading Washington 14-0 here at the break, and 6 first downs per team. Rushing yardage pretty even. Marist, neither team passing a whole lot, which is a surprise for Washington. Total yards, turnovers. The one stat they don't have on there that has been so critical are the 8 penalties for Washington there in the first half of that ball game. And even Marist had a critical penalty that negated a 45-yard touchdown run.
That's right, Matt. And I tell you what, you know, Washington's going to look back at that first half, and I think every first down they had some kind of infraction, so it automatically put them in the hole from the get-go on all of their drives. So they got to change that in the second half for them to get back in the football game. Another thing to look at that wasn't on that stat page is the pressure they're applying to Latrez Harrison every time he goes back to throw a ball.
Let's take a look at this first touchdown run from Marist, the 6-yard touchdown run by Kelly Rhino, and Brandon Russell, who's done such a great job of carrying the ball, also throwing a key block on that play.
Yeah, we talk about Brandon being the triple threat as far as returning kicks, catching the ball out of the backfield and running the football, but on that particular play, he made the block that sprung Rhino free for the touchdown.
14-0, Marist leading Washington. Of course, the other touchdown coming on the 36-yard interception return by Ben Collinger to make it 14-0. And we're going to take a look at that, too. Here it is, a bullet by Latrez Harrison, and there's Collinger. Actually, it looked like he was looking for Kenneth Kennedy, and Kenneth had broken to the outside instead of the inside, and Collinger was there instead.
And he took it to distance to the house, and I tell you what, they're going to need that. 14-0. Marist gets the ball back in the second half. So that's going to be a big play as we get into this ball game in the second half.
Well, Washington with a big hill to climb. We're at the half at Hughes Spalding Stadium, and Marist leads Washington 14-0. To start things off here.
We've had a chance to see Kelly Rhino here early.
Well, first of all, let's tell you about Border Wars and how you can get it. Southeastern recruiting at its best. 7 issues for $49.95. P.O. Box 922667, Norcross, Georgia 300102667, or you can call the 900 number at 900-443.
3800.
3800. Let's take a look at Georgia Tech's commitments.
Yeah, here's Georgia Tech's commitments. They have 2 verbals to date at the quarterback position. Brian Camp's a good one out of Dublin, Ohio. And Andy Hall, the top-rated quarterback prospect out of South Carolina. He's going to come over. And the guy we're watching tonight, Latrez Harrison, very well could end up at Georgia Tech as well. So they could get 3 great quarterbacks. They got Sidney Ford and Kelly Rhino. Kelly, we're having an opportunity to watch tonight, running a great game tonight as he scored 1 touchdown.
And Ford is the kid from Pepperell, if I'm not mistaken, who will probably become the state's leading rusher this year before the season's done. Yeah. They're playing tonight.
And he was the state's leading rusher last year as a junior. Here's their second page of their commitments. John Bennett's a big offensive lineman from Etowah High School in Woodstock. Jodon Jordan, perhaps the strongest recruit in the Southeast. He won our bench pressing contest. Matt, he bench pressed 185 49 times this past summer.
Goodness.
And Jamie Dukes couldn't even do that right now. And then they got Gary Johnson, Silwyn Scott, and Winford Brown plays for a very good Harrison football team who's playing tonight in the playoffs as well. So they got 10 good ones so far, and I think Georgia Tech's going to have a great class this season, especially if they end up beating Georgia this weekend.
Let's take a look at the commitments for the University of Georgia.
Yeah, Robert Brannon's a tight end prospect out of Charlotte, North Carolina. Jamie Henderson is a cousin of Reggie Brown. He's a junior college prospect, and he's going to play safety or corner. He's about 6'2", 195. And Josh Ballou is a big offensive lineman that Georgia's going to get from Guntersville, Alabama. Then they got two intriguing safety prospects, Kentrell Curry and Vince Fajan. Fajan's an excellent baseball player, could be drafted in this year's upcoming June Major League Baseball draft. Jonathan Kilgo is the kicker at Pepperell, one of the state's top kickers. And then if you notice that last name on the bottom, Kenny Bailey. That's Boss Bailey, Champ Bailey, Ronald Bailey's cousin. They all played together at Charlton County. Kenny actually signed with Wake Forest last year, didn't qualify, went up to Hargraves Military Academy, accepted an offer from Georgia a couple weeks ago. He is an athlete that can play DB, running back, receiver. He's a typical Bailey, headed to Georgia.
Wow. Incredible. Another Bailey. It was funny, as I was walking into Sanford Stadium last week, we did the game on pay-per-view, Media One pay-per-view. As I was walking in there, a fellow had put up a sign that said, "Thank you, Mrs. Bailey," and had the numbers of Ronald, Champ, and Boss, and underneath that it said, "Do you have any more?"
Well, they do, and it's Kenny, but he's a cousin, so I don't know. They got a great group of players there that Mrs. Bailey took care of, and tell you what, they're going to be great at Georgia.
At the half, Marist leads Washington 14-0. When we come back, getting close to that second half kickoff right here on Media One Channel 30. Welcome back, getting set for the second half kickoff here at Hughes Spalding Stadium in Dunwoody. Second round of the state playoffs, and Marist leading Washington by a score of 14-0. And Bo Bach's going to talk to the Bulldogs head coach Rodney Cofield in a couple of moments, but I imagine what he told them there is, Marist is a worthy opponent. Don't make things any tougher on yourself by going out there and committing silly penalties to start a drive. And they've done that, I think, just about. I don't know that they had a drive in this ball game where they have not started it with some sort of a penalty.
Well, I mean, there's no question. I mean, you can definitely spread the blame from the Washington side, from the coaching side of it, also to the players. You have illegal motion penalties, but you also have 12 players on the field on a couple of occasions that led to that probably unprecedented 4 consecutive series starting at 1st and 15. They probably thought they were south of the border when you consider the fact that, or maybe north of the border up in Canada. Is that what they play in Canada? You get 1st and 15, and that's how you make things work? Because every series was 1st and 15. But, But the blame is to be spread, kind of across the board.
Let's go down on the field now to Bo Bach.
Thank you, guys, and I'm with Coach Cofield from Washington. Coach, what'd you tell him at halftime?
Well, what we got to do is stop making mistakes on offense. We have getting penalties. We're getting back into a situation where we don't want to be, such as 3rd and 30, 3rd and 20. We got to keep playing fundamental on defense and start executing on offense a little bit better than what we did. And that's what's keeping us back. We're not executing on offense. We're getting too many unnecessary penalties. So we got to play mistake-free football this second half.
Yeah, and you told me before the game it's going to be an X and O game, and you're going to open it up. I thought from what you said, and then when you were down 7-0, you did open it up quite a bit. How about in the second half?
Well, we're looking to do some of the same thing, but we need to get back into our offensive rhythm. We got to control the game this half.
Thanks, Coach. Good luck.
Well, they've got a big hill to climb. They trail by 2 touchdowns, 14-0. Marist scoring their 2 touchdowns there early in the second quarter with 8 seconds gone in the quarter, capping a 66-yard drive with the 6th play being a 6-yard touchdown run by Kelly Rhino. And then just 1 minute and 48 seconds later, a 36-yard interception return for touchdown by Ben Collinger when he picked off a Latrez Harrison pass right in the middle of the field and sprinted into the corner of the end zone. The Atlanta Falcons have 2 home games remaining in the regular season. Coming up next Sunday, they'll be hosting the Indianapolis Colts, and then December 27th, playing host to the Miami Dolphins. And for ticket information, call 404-249-6400 for group tickets, 404-223-8444. And if I'm not mistaken, within the next couple of days, the Falcons also will be announcing plans for playoff ticket
What did you
purchase.
say? What?
Playoff tickets purchase, yes.
Pinch me, I'm dreaming.
I tell you what, I know it's highly unusual, but yes, indeed. At 9-2, the Falcons will be announcing playoff ticket plans coming up, and I'm sure you can find out what those plans are by dialing those numbers that we just showed you a few moments ago.
And hopefully, maybe, just possibly, we might be talking about an extra week to kind of just sit and watch some football as the Falcons get a first-round bye.
Could be.
I tell you what, I was in the Dome for the Niners game, and they got a great home field advantage when they pack that place.
That's
so
dome field advantage.
Dome field advantage, and it was against
the Eugene Robinson promo. It's dome field.
It was against the Niners. That place was rocking.
Well, the temperature continues to fall here. They told us it was 52 at kickoff, and it could be down to 42 by now because it's getting awful chilly. And I bet on the field, it's a little bit chillier than that because it was about a 10-degree difference, it seemed like, from field to press box up here where we're out of the wind and air, and it's starting to get a little chilly in the press box, too.
It is going to heat up, though, in the second half. Marist gets the ball first.
Hey, I was right. It dropped 11 degrees, 41 degrees.
Well, you know what this is?
You know, that comes from when I did the interview with Guy Sharp out in Conyers when we did the Heritage game. He taught me a few things. Y'all just didn't see it. He taught me a few things, pulled me over to the side, showed me a few of his tricks. Washington's going to kick off here to start the second half. So incumbent upon them to try to pin Marist and not let them establish any kind of momentum or drive in this ball game, seeing how they're already down by 2 touchdowns. You really can't afford to fall behind by any more here in this game.
Yeah, it's definitely important that they get off to a quick start and Washington do what they did, because Washington in the second quarter found its niche, found its rhythm behind Jerry Slaughter, did a good job. He really cranked up the slaughterhouse because, those guys were flat. Washington was really flat coming out. They were kind of in awe whether they were watching the offense and getting a little sick to their stomach because of all the penalties. But one way or another, the defense managed to turn this tide and turn the football game around.
Yeah, Washington's defense is going to have to come up with a big play at some point in the third or fourth quarter, and especially on this first drive. It's imperative that they get a stop here as we start the second half.
Marion Delapierre will kick things off for Washington. Kelly Rhino, Brandon Russell, and Lee Torrance standing deep for Marist. And a line drive kick is going to be taken by Russell at the 16-yard line. Russell bounces outside and finally driven out of bounds at the 46-yard line.
I was just getting ready to say, Matt, as we talk about, we got another flag, so unsportsmanlike conduct looks like you're going to add on conduct. It looks like you're going to add another 15 yards. But, Matt, I was just getting ready to say, as I saw the young one, number 21 right there, I said, I surely hope they don't kick the ball to him. And who gets the ball and who's going to have the ball on the 40-yard line plus 40?
There's 11 guys to kick it to. He's the one that you don't want to kick it to.
As they say, he ain't one of them.
And now a personal foul is called on Washington. That is the 9th penalty. 95 yards in penalties now against Washington in this ball game. And it's going to push it back. It's going to push it forward to the 41-yard line. Is that where it's going to be? Or is it's going to be at the 39-yard line? And here's the penalty over here on the sideline. They got a little extracurriculars going over here on the sideline. Yeah, I think they came up taunting and stuff like that, and that's a 15-yard mark-off. And exactly what Washington could not afford to do to start this second half is exactly what has happened. A big kickoff return by Russell, and then you've got the 15-yard penalty on top of that, and Marist has it 1st and 10 at the Washington 39. Heller, the tight end, flip-flops from the near side to the far. Pitch goes to Rhino. Rhino gets a block from Russell. Rhino out of bounds at the 38, pickup of 1 on the play.
Alan Chadwick, even though that play only went for 1 yard, Alan Chadwick doing a good job of taking advantage of the entire field. Ball's on the left hash. What he's doing is just taking his backs, letting his speed. You see right there, Rhino doing a good job, run out, and just kind of spreading it out. And if he misses that tackle, hey, it's to the house. But doing a good job from Coach Chadwick's standpoint of just using the entire football field.
2nd down and 9. Ball is at the 37. Nichols points over to the Washington sideline about something to the official and then hops back in under center. Russell gets the ball. Russell is stopped at the 34-yard line. Stopped by Aaron McGinty. Pickup of about 4 on the play, and it's going to be 3rd down and about 5 from the 34.
Tell you a very interesting thing. We were talking about the, taking advantage of the entire field. Basically, when you use the entire field, you can actually use it as a running team, as a passing play.
3rd down and 5. Ball is at the 34. Close to a first down. Russell on the carry. We'll see where they spot it, but he's close to the first down at the 30-yard line.
And I tell you, a group that's really been putting this thing together has been the Marist offensive line. These guys have been just really doing a good job. The big old fullback, number 41, doing another good job of just really taking it to Washington right now. And it's fourth down and a very short one.
8 carries, 52 yards for Russell. 62 yards, rather, for Russell. Fourth down and less than a yard. Handoff. Russell has the first down and more. Russell across the 25-yard line. Mosley made the stop, but Russell has the first down at the 25, and Marist trying to drive in for what could be a backbreaker here early in the third quarter.
Football is leverage, and coaches say that all the time. You see right there, the running back does a good job of putting his hand down on the ground, using that third appendage as something that he needs, something to get those extra yards, and you see he gets a first down.
First and 10, ball at the 25. Nichols hands off to Beck. Beck inside the 20. Squirms down to the 18-yard line. McGinty got a leg and then held on, but about a 7-yard gain for Beck across the 20 down to the 18.
Give him heck back. You see right there, he pushes off one defender, and then, that's what a fullback's all about. You see the great Nebraska fullbacks. The touchdown Tommy Vardell from Stanford University. These are guys just tough, hard-nosed fullbacks.
Second down, ball just across the 19-yard line. Nichols hollers out to the near side and then to the far side. Fakes the handoff, pitches to Rhino. Rhino gets outside inside the 15. Rhino tight ropes down the sideline and finally steps out of bounds at the 4. Rhino with a 14-yard carry down to the 14-yard line, finally driven out of bounds by Johnny Rutherford.
Yeah, Nichols did a good job. He checked out of something to get him into this option play, and Rhino just gets around the corner. Nothing fancy, and I believe Marist hasn't even tried a pass tonight, as they've been keeping it on the ground with Rhino and Russell and mixing it up with Beck once in a while through the middle.
We had Marist early in the year. We talked about it. And I really tell you what, Nichols does a great job of just executing the offense.
First and goal, ball at the 4. Handoff. Beck. Or did Beck ever get the ball?
I think it was a fumble.
Beck never got the ball. Nichols was able to get back on top of it. Was it a fumble or a quarterback sneak, or what did we have here? I never did see the ball. Yeah, he never did hand it off. He faked the handoff to Beck, and I think kept it himself and fell forward. Let's see if we can see what happened here.
Basically, it's one of those.
Yeah, it was fumbled. It was fumbled.
He
Beck
jumped on top of it.
Yeah, he tried to hand off to Beck, and the ball ended up on the ground, and Nichols was fortunate to fall on top of it. Second down and goal. So Marist dodges a bullet there. Toss goes to Rhino. Rhino tries to slip inside. Nice stick by Brandon Brown as Rhino tried to cut back inside, and Brown was there to stop him, and it's third down and goal. He may have lost a yard on the play.
Well, I tell you what, let's go back to the other play. You see right here, they run the option. On the fumble snap, basically what happens is the quarterback sticks the ball in all the time, and it's kind of a sensitivity situation where if the fullback feels the quarterback pull the ball out, he's supposed to let the ball go. But sometimes your fullback feels that, hey, I might be able to score, so he holds onto the ball. The quarterback's trying to pull out, and you have a tug of war, and you have a fumble.
Big play for Washington here. 9th play of the drive. Third down and goal. Pitch goes to Russell. A man out there. He throws into the end zone, and it's batted down. Threw short of the end zone. Never did get to the end zone. A little toss out there to Russell, and Russell tried to fire into the end zone.
So now he's a quarterback. He returns. He runs, he blocks, and here he tries to throw a pass. Probably ill-advised as he's under great pressure by number 28. And number 20 on Washington almost picks it off.
Yeah, DeAnthony Weems nearly came up with the INT, and now a field goal attempt for Marist. This will be a 22-yard field goal attempt for Danny Marshall. Ball placed down. Marshall has leg in it, and Marshall's field goal is good. A 22-yarder, and with 7:47 to play in the third quarter, Marist has increased their lead to 17-0. drive capped by the 22-yard field goal by Danny Marshall. And Marist holds the ball for the first 4:13 of this second half to take a 17-0 lead on Washington. Line drive kick goes to Kenneth Kennedy at the 15-yard line, tries to bring it back in the middle of the field, and Kenneth Kennedy is not going anywhere.
And that's a guy we really haven't heard a whole lot from, Kenneth Kennedy. I mean, he's had some opportunities, but Marist doing a great job on that particular kickoff. Just everybody doing their part, filling in the lanes, talking about Coach Chadwick and what he instills. You know, going back to the analogy of, you know, you're talking about the great talented football teams. This is one of the best coached football teams in the state of Georgia. It's one of the best football programs in the state of Georgia.
Yeah, coming into the game, he had 10 touchdown receptions. The problem is Latrez can't get him the football because of the pressure.
1st and 10, ball at the 18-yard line. Washington with their hands on the ball for the first time tonight in the second half. Handoff goes to Turner. Turner is hit behind the line of scrimmage, spins out of that tackle, now tries to cut back into the middle of the field. Did a whole lot of work just to get back to the line of scrimmage. Let's go down on the sideline to Bo Bob.
Thanks, guys, and this is the Marist offense in back of me. And I'll tell you what, you know, Washington's got to get something going. It's still early in the third quarter, I know, and they are an explosive club, but they've got to get something going because they were lucky to hold Marist to only 3. This has been the third quarter has been the quarter for Marist since the middle of the season. They really pour it on at this point in the game.
2nd down and 10. Ball right back where they started. Latrez fakes the handoff, wants to throw, going deep for Kenneth Kennedy, who lets it go through his hands at the 39-yard line. For the first time tonight, they had the timing down, they had the protection down, they had everything there, and it goes right through the hands of Kenneth Kennedy.
Well, I tell you what, on this play, good job by the offensive line. A play-action pass right here. Good protection. You see 77 doing a good job. And as you say, the ball right there, and he just kind of sticks his hands out a little bit short, misjudged it, maybe got caught in the lights. But that's a play that big-time players have to make. And, Jamie, that guy's in your magazine. He's got to make that play, my friend.
Oh, he's definitely one of the top receivers, excuse me, in the state of Georgia. Just didn't make the play. It was there. Play action, held the defense. Latrez had the time to put the ball there. He did. It just wasn't converted.
Washington 1 of 6 on 3rd down conversions tonight. Heavy rush. Latrez dumps it off. Turner's got it. Turner breaks a tackle at the 27, and he has the first down up at the 35. Was stuck hard by Lee Torrance, but not until he picked up the first down at the 35.
I've been waiting for that play all night long. Just a simple screen to Nicholas Turner, and then he just does it all himself. Nice open field running here. Finds the space and gets the first down, but he's driven back. Watch this hit. Number 29 just drives him in the ground.
Yeah, Lee Torrance with the stop, and it's 1st and 10 for Washington. Ball at the 35. Handoff goes to Lee. Lee coming around from the wing back position. Picks up about 5 yards up to the 41-yard line. Robert Lee picking up his, getting his first carry of this ball game. Ryan McDermott, the middle linebacker, made the stop, but Lee got 5 yards, and it's 2nd down and 5 with the ball at the 40.5-yard line. Lee, just his 20th carry of the season. The reverse. Ball is loose. Riley picks it up. Riley is sprinting for the end zone. Latrez Harrison trying to drag him down, and Riley is hit the wall. Washington tried to do something fancy there with the double reverse handoff, faking it here and there, and Riley comes up with a loose ball.
Big players making big plays. I mean, it's just one of those things where on that particular play, Riley gets penetration up the field, and he flashes. I mean, and that's something that distracts the running back. When you flash right there, he sees that big guy coming at him, and look at the big guy just kind of rompering, stomping right down the football field. Good job for the old Deacon. I'm telling you, that's the Deacon in my group.
Damian Hill dropped the ball. Latrez Harrison handed off to Damian Hill, and I don't know whether Hill actually ever got a good handle on it or not, but it was bobbling around back there, and Hugh Riley picked it up and rumbles down to the 1. Handoff back in the end zone. Touchdown. Marist leads 23-0.
You know, on that play, Beck told the quarterback, he told Nichols, he said, hey, I felt I had it the last time. That's why I kind of clamped down on the ball a little bit harder, and you had the fumbled exchange. On that particular play, gives the ball to the fullback. Fullback takes the ball in and basically walks in for a touchdown.
What a swing there as Washington was putting together some kind of drive, a miscue, a fumble. Riley gets his early Christmas gift. The 6'5", 250-pounder takes it down to the 2, and then they convert.
Marshall on for the PAT. And he sticks it through the uprights. 5:48 to play in the third quarter. Marist has jumped to a 24-0 lead. And now we see if Washington has any fire left in them. And if they can overcome this blizzard, this blitz rather, by Marist and all the mistakes they've made, and Hugh Riley recovering the fumble and rumbling 22 yards, and then Robbie Beck punching it in one play later. And the kickoff is taken by Lee at the 8. And Lee trying to get outside and is dropped at the 14-yard line. Let's go down to the sideline to Boba.
Well, we had Hugh Riley, but he's in there. He's going in to play a little bit of defense. But we'll ask him when he comes back out.
All right, I tell you what, he had quite the play there, Bo. Rumbling up the middle of the field down there for 22 yards and just about scored until Latrez Harrison brought him down. But here we find out if what Washington has left in them here with, you know, that they've got to be emotionally drained after what's transpired for them this evening. But it's transpired by their own doing. They've died by their own knife. Turner gets the handoff. Hugh Riley falls on top of him at the 15-yard line.
Now, on that particular play, you see what they've done is they know the seam is right up the middle, but they're running a draw play, not the quick-hitting trap play. Yes, the hole is right there in the 0-1 hole, which is right up the chute, but unfortunately, what you've got to do is you got to use quick-hitting plays because now they're expecting the Marist defense to really come after Latrez Harrison in that passing attack.
Got to get some blocking up front. They got to try to make something happen here, or the season's over. Latrez scrambling around, under pressure, back in his own end zone, fires in the middle of the field, and it's caught by Nicholas Turner at the 27-yard line. Turner bouncing off tackles and up to the 32.
I tell you, Nicholas Turner has really been their everything man, a guy who's really stepped it up offensively. He's been very consistent from the offensive side of the ball. Unfortunately, he hadn't got a lot of support from his other teammates. Good job by the improvisation you see right there by the gifted one, Latrez Harrison, doing a good job, and he just flicks it. I mean, it's amazing the talent. Right up over the top of the defender. Wow.
Yes. Ran into his own man.
That's their longest play of the day, and he's going to have to do it on his own if that pass protection doesn't get better. And this is the kind of plays that Harrison can make every single time out.
Ball at the 32, 1st and 10. Church goes in motion. Who ended up with the ball? I believe the offensive lineman ended up with the ball. Was
some kind of fumble?
Was it a fumble Ruski of some sort or another? But it was Kevin Houston, the left guard, ended up with the ball. So I imagine what we had was a fumble Ruski. Do we have a replay? Does anybody know where the ball is? I don't, the cameraman's lost, but you know what? I didn't know where the ball was either. Latrez, a great fake. It was a fumble Ruski at the line of scrimmage, and it did not work. Let's put it that way. 2nd down and 10. Latrez fires out here to Kenneth Kennedy, who lets it bounce off his shoulder pads. And then Nick Pelkey comes up and reminds him of what he just did wrong.
Truly the twilight zone. One of the top receivers in the state. Kind of reminds you of Jerry Rice. You talked about the 49er game. Jerry Rice dropping a touchdown as he saw Eugene Robinson kind of flash in his face for the Falcons. But right now, great player, not having a very good night, unfortunately.
No, when it rains and pours for Kenneth Kennedy, just not on his game tonight. Dropped what could have been a long bomb for a touchdown. Here he just drops a simple, quick pass. So we'll have to see he get his mind back into the game.
3:41 to play here in the third quarter. 3rd down and 10 for Washington at their own 32. Blitz is coming. Latrez dumps it up top, and it's intercepted by Collinger at the 46-yard line. Collinger cutting back into the middle of the field and finally goes down at the 32.
2 big interceptions for Collinger. One, he took 4 touchdowns on this particular play. You see the turnovers, Washington with 4 turnovers, and 1 for Marist. Big defensive play right there, breaking the Kings back.
Yeah, Latrez had his man open. He just underthrew him on that particular pass, and Collinger's been the man tonight with 2 big interceptions.
Ben Collinger took one back for 36 yards and then just returned that one about 16 to 17 yards. And Marist has it 1st and 10 at the Washington 32. And looking to put a nail in the coffin. Flags go down, or was there flags down, or did someone call a timeout? I don't see any flags. We do have a timeout, though, called by Washington. Timeout is called by Washington. And don't forget, you see it live, and then you can see it on tape. Saturdays and Sundays at 8:30 and Tuesday at 6. And tomorrow we have bonus coverage for you with a replay at 3:30 in the afternoon. It's the Winn-Dixie High School Game of the Week right here on Media One, Channel 33.
Matt, isn't there another game this weekend somewhere? Who's playing this week?
No, I think all the high school games are being played tonight, Jamie.
Really? What about tomorrow?
No high school games tomorrow, Jamie.
They're kicking one off in Athens tomorrow?
Really?
Yeah, I think so. I think Georgia plays Georgia Tech.
They have a game that someone might be interested in at Sanford Stadium tomorrow.
What do you like in that game, Matt?
Let's go down on the sideline to Bo Bott.
Thanks, guys. And this is you, Riley. And what do they like in there?
What do they like of me?
What do they like? What's Washington like?
They're a pretty good team. They're aggressive. You know, sometimes they're playing a little dirty after the ball, but that's no big deal. You know, we expect that. And it's been a good game overall, though, I think.
Yo, I was telling people before the game that you had long speed, but then you disproved me.
Well, I don't know about that. I just saw the ball, you know. The Trez is pretty quick, I guess, but...
What do you think about going to school?
Right now, I'm pretty open. I've got a couple offers that I'm looking at, and so... Hi, Diane. Hi, Maggie.
Kelly Rhino picks up the 1st down as he gets outside to the 21-yard line, and a 1st down for Marist.
Well, Hugh told us he was looking at Tech, Virginia, Tennessee, and North Carolina. We talked to him a couple weeks ago, and he's a big-time recruit, has great size and speed, as we saw on that play, but not great long speed, as Bo said. And Rhino, I tell you what, he's headed to Georgia Tech, and he's having himself quite a game tonight.
I tell you what, that kid looked like he's about 29. Man, he looked older than you.
Ball is at the 20-yard line. Rhino gets it again. This time, Rhino is wrapped up at the line of scrimmage, and he falls forward for about a 2-yard gain, or maybe they gave him a yard right across the 20 to the 19.5. Torres Mosley made the stop. Mosley's been on a lot of plays for Washington tonight. Almost 70 yards rushing for Kelly Rhino. We had a report come in from Powder Springs a little bit ago. McEachern, top-ranked team in the state, laying it on Cedar Shoals tonight, 27-0 in the second round of the playoffs. And do we have another timeout on the field?
I guess we do.
Well, I guess so. And we'll take a timeout, too. 2:39 to play in the quarter. Marist leading Washington 24-0. .239 to play in the third quarter. Marist leading Washington 24-0. Pitch to Rhino. Rhino tries to get outside, and he's driven out of bounds. Lowe was over there. And it's 3rd down.
I tell you, as lopsided as the score has been, 24-0, Washington's defense has really done a fine job since the first quarter. And the funny thing is, the score was 0-0 after the first quarter, but they've done very well at containing a very good and well-disciplined offense. Unfortunately, they're just not getting the support of the offense to help them out a little bit.
3rd down. Ball just across the 20-yard line. Nichols Audibles at the line of scrimmage. Handoff, Rhino. Rhino tries to go off right tackle and is knocked down at the 17-yard line, and it's 4th down. Was popped pretty hard as he tried to go off tackle.
Yeah, Marist isn't going to do anything fancy. They're not going to want to turn the ball over. They want to kick the 3 here, bump it up to a potentially 27-0 score, and really put Washington back even further.
Field goal attempt now, ball at the 24-yard line, so we're going to have a 34-yard field goal attempt here by Danny Marshall with 1:55 to play in the 3rd quarter. Ball is placed down, and Marshall reaches, and it is through the upright. Just got through. A 34-yard field goal by Danny Marshall has made it 27-0. We would like to apologize for an isolated technical problem. We welcome back our viewers who are away from us briefly. As an update here, Marist has now increased their lead to 27-0. Danny Marshall kicked a 22-yard field goal with 7:47 to play in the 3rd quarter. Then the Hugh Riley picked up a fumble and rumbled 22 yards down to the 1. Robbie Beck punched it in from the 1. We just had an interception by Ben Collinger, and that has now been turned into a 34-yard field goal by Danny Marshall, and the 27-0 lead with 1:44 to play in the 3rd quarter. So Marist has buried Washington here in a deep hole, and we now find out whether Marshall, or rather whether Washington can make an attempt to climb out of this hole.
Well, the best thing about it, and the best thing about Washington is the fact that they have big play capabilities. They are guys that can move the ball, move the chains quickly. As you see, a great football player in Latrez Harrison, his top guy having a little trouble jamming right now on the field.
Yeah, and it looks like, Nicholas Turner's trying to pick up, the slack a little bit of their offenses. They have been out of rhythm all night long tonight because of the great Marist defense. So let's see if they can put something together here as we get closer to the 4th quarter with only 1:44 left.
Brian Dempsey to kick off for Marist. A little pooch kick's going to be fair caught by Kenneth Kennedy at the 33-yard line, and that's where Washington will start with 1:43 to play here in the 3rd quarter. Again, we would like to apologize for an isolated technical problem. We welcome back our viewers who are away from us just very briefly. Marist leading Washington 27-0 with 1:43 to play here in the 3rd quarter. As Bo pointed out, 3rd quarter has belonged to Marist all season, and this 3rd quarter has been no different as they've increased their 14-0 halftime lead to 27-0. Handoff goes to Hill. Hill is submarined by Pelkey at the 32-yard line and flies forward to the 34.
The thing about it, just like the special teams, you look at the Marist special teams, they spread out. You see they got a running back trying to block number 70, and he's not doing too bad a job, but the question is, you cannot run laterally on this football team because the team stays in its position. You've got to run north and south. You got to hit them with quick hitting plays, and you got to let the big kid throw that ball because right now you got 27 points to overcome.
2nd down and 9. Ball at the 34. Ball is dropped. Was Harrison able to cover? And he was. A loss of 2 on the play. And it's going to be 3rd down. The winner of this ball game advances to play either at Doherty or Hardaway next week. So the winner of this ball game, and right now that looks like it would be Marist, will be on the road in Columbus or Albany next Friday night for state quarterfinal action.
That M in the middle of the field stands for Murphy's Law because it's obvious that's the case for Washington.
3rd down and long for the Bulldogs. Less than 30 seconds to play in the quarter. Under a heavy rush, Latrez tries to get away. He cannot. He is dropped back at the 20-yard line by Brenton Dette.
I believe he's banged up on the play. I tell you what, Latrez Harrison didn't have a chance. I think we got a flag down on the field right here. See right there, I mean, they came clean immediately.
Brendan Deety is the one who gets him here. Yeah, the ball came loose before his knee hit the ground, and so you either have a fumble or an incomplete pass, one or the other.
I think they called intentional grounding, believe it or not.
Is that what they called?
I think they called it intentional.
The thing is, he was in the motion of trying to throw the ball. I don't know if I necessarily agree with if that is the call, because it looks like that the throwing motion was definitely being made. If we run the replay again, you can see where right at the very end, he was trying to throw the ball forward. The question is, where was he trying to throw the ball? You see right here, he was getting ready to throw the ball, and the guy grabs from behind. He can't see what's behind him.
That plays a perfect illustration of what's been going on all night. Latrez Harrison has not had a moment to throw the football. He's been running for his life every time they've been trying to throw a pass. So they've, in essence, taken away half of Washington's offense because they're a timing, rhythm, passing team, and they just haven't been able to get on track tonight. But you got to give credit to Marist. They played hellacious defense from the get-go.
And they play very well-disciplined defense, because you see the question is guys staying at home, just like their coverage team. You see all the guys down the field running down, staying in their lanes. You know, you see a lot of lateral movement from the standpoint of the Washington players trying to run the ball left and right. But the facts are the Marist players are doing a very good job of staying in their lanes.
Mullen stands at his 4-yard line to take this snap, and he gets it away. A line drive kick. Taken by Collinger on the run at the 46, Collinger at the 40, Collinger at the 35, inside the 30, and finally out of bounds at the 29-yard line. And what has been a big night for Ben Collinger, and a fine punt return right there. And 1st and 10 for Marist at the Washington 29-yard line.
I tell you, those are the most dangerous punts. You see it time and time again, a low line drive punt, giving a guy, giving him the opportunity to catch the ball on the move and just shake and bake with it, do his little dance, do whatever he's going to do. But you're absolutely right. That young man right there has had a fantastic football game. 2 interceptions, nice kickoff, a nice punt return right there.
Probably the final play of the 3rd quarter, just 5 seconds showing on the clock. Marist now with a big 27-0 lead. Nichols pitches to Russell. Russell gets a block inside the 20. Flags go down. He's in the end zone, but flags are down. A 29-yard touchdown run by Brandon Russell, but it may be coming back. And if so, that would be the 2nd touchdown that's been called back on Brandon Russell tonight. And we have holding. A holding call earlier negated his 45-yard touchdown run. A holding call has now negated a 29-yard touchdown run. And the 3rd quarter has come to an end. Marist leads Washington 27-0.
Oh!
Welcome back. Start of the 4th quarter. The officials did not end the quarter. I've never seen a play after an offensive penalty continue on with 0-0 on the clock. And here you see the touchdown pass from Paul Nichols to Ben Collinger as we are away on break. A 38-yard touchdown pass. Caught us off guard. The officials, I have never seen a play continue after an offensive penalty. I know that you can't end a quarter or the game on a defensive penalty, but an offensive penalty, you had to figure that the ball was going to flip over to the other 38-yard line, which didn't happen. But you see the touchdown nonetheless there on the completion by Nichols to Collinger, and a great night for Ben Collinger and a 34-0 lead for Marist.
Yeah, they just slipped a bomb on him, faked the option, and Collinger was wide open, and Nichols threw a great pass, hit him right on stride, and now it's 34-0. And Marist tends to do that. They'll bait you with the run, the run, the run. We saw it against Heritage, and they can throw the bomb over the top.
Well, somehow they ran a play with no time on the clock, but Marist now has a 34-0 lead.
Can you say heads or tails? Heads.
Heads, tails.
Tails.
Heads, tails. Heads, tails. Here we go. And now the start of the 4th quarter, we think. Ball is dropped. And stopped to the 15-yard line is Keon Britton. Let's go down to the sideline to Bo Bach. 11:54 to play in the ball game. Marist leading Washington 34-0, and a flag is down on the field. Let's see what the call is here. Well, let's see. No indication from the officials yet. They're over there explaining to Rodney Cofield, I think, how you run a play with no time on the clock. Maybe that's what they're explaining to him right now, but I don't know. Maybe we'll find out what they're...
Well, you know what we'll do is we'll give your former president of your senior class a call. What's the official's name again?
David Tucker.
David Tucker, and have Mr. Tucker kind of explain it to him. Maybe we can pipe him in on the phone call.
Yeah, Rodney Cofield wants an explanation, and I don't blame him.
We have seen some weird interpretations of the high school football rules through the course of, what, 12, 13 games so far this year.
The officials have had a busy night, though. There have been lots of penalties to call. And the officials are collaborating. And now let's see what we have here on the call. Yeah, there you go. That was an unsportsmanlike conduct call on Washington.
And I believe a player might have been ejected.
Yeah, I don't see what Rodney Cofield's still talking to the official over on the side, trying to get an explanation. So Washington starts from the 6, and flags go down. Latrez went into motion, and the center forgot to snap the ball. Oketis McClure. And illegal procedure is the call, and that's going to back it up some more.
I believe Aaron McGinty actually was ejected from the game, and I guess that's what coach is trying to get a clarification on. But I think he has been actually ejected from the game. We'll get somebody to check on that.
Well, I'm trying to see what's going on. I see Oketis McClure. He is number 52. He is supposed to be the center, but he is over on he has taken his jersey and his shoulder pads off. I'm not mistaken. I'm trying to get my glasses on. Who's snapping the ball now? Yeah, we do have a new center in the ball game, and thus the motion penalty on the play before. The new center is now Brandon Stovall. Oketis McClure, the starting center, has taken his jersey, his shoulder pads, the whole deal off over on the side. So maybe he was involved in what had happened too.
I think Nicholas Turner, number 1, got injured on this play as he simple dive play over the middle, and let's check it out and see what's going on with him.
Yeah, he's still down on the field.
Very unusual night tonight. I mean, as you talk about so much going on, you know, looking at, this is something I don't think any of us expect. As you talk about the team that was ranked at the beginning of the year, number 1 in the state, Washington, and it's just, I mean, there has not been one aspect that I think I can remember, with the exception of our super linebacker making plays on defense, nothing really happening.
11:36 to play in the game. Marist leads Washington 34-0. .36 to play in the ball game. Marist with a big 34-0 lead. Turner checks out of the ball game. We'll try to get an injury status on him. Ryan McDermott is there for Marist. 3rd down.
Cute young man right there, getting a chance to enjoy the game. Sitting on the Marist side, Marist fans just excited and happy because their boys are out there doing a great job. And it's like I said earlier, very unfortunate. I mean, Washington, had no idea of what was going to happen tonight.
3rd down. Latrez under a heavy rush. Hugh Riley gets him back at the 2-yard line. And Latrez throws the ball away in disgust. And Latrez Harrison has had a hard night because just hasn't had a whole lot of time to do anything.
He wanted to go out as a senior. Quarterback prospects in the country. Just again, this exemplifies the whole night for him. Has no time, and D. Riley pounces on him. Just an unbelievable night for Marist's defense. No one ever would have expected 34-0. As you said earlier, Jamie, Murphy's Law, what has gone, what could go wrong, will go wrong for Washington tonight. Unbelievable.
Byron Mullen stands in the back of his end zone. Almost snapped it over his head. He snapped out of the end zone. He stepped out of the back of the end zone. And this is a safety and another 2 points for Marist. Let's go down the sideline to Bo Bach. Well, we'll try that again sometime. So a safety as the snap goes over the head of the punter. Byron Mullen, he was able to get it. He's able to grab it, but in doing so, his back foot stepped over the back line of the end zone, and that's a safety.
Well, Jamie, we didn't see a
36-0.
Well, that's right. I mean, you looked at something new. I mean, that was definitely something. I mean, we've seen just about everything that you could possibly see going wrong for a football team, I'm just in shock. I mean, that's all I can say is I'm literally in shock.
Well, how do you think Cofield and Harrison and all the other guys at Washington feel? Never would have expected this to happen tonight. Marist just whooping them, 36-0.
Yeah, I mean, and, offensively, just no way, no continuity whatsoever. Penalties, just lots of penalties. So, just a very strange football game and a very disappointing game, I'm sure, for the Washington fans as well.
And you got to credit Marist's defense and Coach Chadwick. They put together an excellent defensive game plan tonight, applying pressure to Harrison virtually every passing play, and have been able to slow down Nicholas Turner in the running game.
Well, I think they have too many men on the field still. They just had a man check off. 2, 4, 6, 8. No, they have 11 now. So I tell you what, Washington, they just need to get their heads together. They still have 10 minutes to play in this game. I mean, they got to finish the game. And they're kind of letting things get away from them now. Line drive kick. It's going to be taken at the 34-yard line and brought straight up the middle by Torrance, who gets it across the 50 into the 43-yard line. And that's where Marist starts, in Washington territory. And I think they've pretty much been in Washington territory the entire game here in the second half.
Well, I mean, and that's something. We got another player down, it looks like, for Washington. I don't know what to say. I mean, this is just so unusual. I mean, it's like, somebody took, they talk about the Cajuns down in the bayou putting roots on people. And, I mean, it's like somebody from Marist put a Cajun root on somebody. I don't know what in the world is going on. Players dropping like flies. Referees' flags dropping like flies. Just miscues after miscue after miscue. Latrez Harrison running for his life. Just a very unusual football game.
It's got to be the cat litter.
That's
Must
what it
be
is.
the cat litter.
Maybe that's what it is.
I'd like to thank our sponsors here who have made tonight's broadcast possible. Winn-Dixie Marketplace, Life University, Sonny's Real Pit Barbecue, and the Atlanta Falcons. They'll be with us, and they've been with us the entire season. They'll be with us next week as we're on the road again for the state high school quarterfinals next week to wrap up our season of football here on Media One Channel 33. Handoff right up the middle, and got a new running back in the ball game for Marist. That was, that was Brandon Russell. Brandon Russell on the carry. It was Justin Williams, who's now in at quarterback, the junior, now in at quarterback for Marist. We also had a few more players coming in for Marist as well.
I tell you can always see the clean britches. That's how you can tell new players entering the game.
Russell still in the ball game. John Leverett has now checked in at fullback for Marist. First and 10. Ball at the 32. Leverett gets the handoff. And Leverett gets across the 30 down to the 28-yard line.
I think this is Mr. Williams' second appearance on Media One. I think he played in the Heritage game in midseason when we covered Marist versus Heritage. But, oh, lucky to get the handoff there. They're not going to do anything fancy. They just want to kill the clock.
Second down, clock is running. Second down and 6, 9:09 to play in the game. Whole bunch of new players in for Marist now. Pitch. Torrance slips out of a tackle and down to the 26-yard line.
Show you, when we talk about well-disciplined football teams and well-disciplined football players, you see Torrance going to the sideline, realizing that, hey, I can't get out of bounds. I've got to stay in bounds because I've got to keep the clock moving. Cuts back inside. Very well coached, smart football play.
8:30 to play in the game. Ball at the 26. Third down, and nobody expected this. Marist 36-0 on Washington. Handoff, Torrance gets down to the 23. Stay with us. At the conclusion of this broadcast, we will name our Winn-Dixie players of the game.
I know who I'm voting for.
We've got a number of candidates from which to choose. Fourth down for Marist. Ball is at the 24-yard line. Fourth down and 2. 7:48 to play in the game. Handoff. Leverett close to a first down. Let's see where they spot it. It doesn't look like he got it.
It's going to be very short.
Looking where they spot it, doesn't look like he got it, but they're going to bring those chains out.
Well, I tell you what, it's going to be interesting. I think they are a little bit short. I think this is an opportunity for Latrez Harrison to get his hands back on the ball if he comes back in the game. You saw his frustration as he was going out of bounds, and it's really kind of justifiable when you think about it. I mean, the kid has not had an opportunity to really plant his fifth step on his passing route because guys have been all over him all night tonight.
He's been running for his life every single play that they attempted to throw the football.
And Washington comes up short, or rather Marist comes up short at the Washington 23, and Washington will take over on downs at the 23-yard line.
See, Matt, even you are joining in on that particular program. As you talk about, Washington falling in short. I mean, Washington is a team right now, they need to do something. They need to, for next year, right now the score is 36 to nothing. They have to find something to build upon for this football program. And what that means is getting their players stepping up, making some plays, never say die.
Yeah, Latrez has had a terrible night, 2 for 8. Thrown for, I think, 16 yards, a couple interceptions. They got a new quarterback in, and it's a shame he had to end his career this way. Aldo Gaither's in the game for him now. We'll see if they can at least muster something here.
Handoff to the first man through, and it's Elmondre Mason. Mason gets a couple of yards to the 25-yard line.
Right here, you almost bobbled the snap right here. You see center exchange right there, and the fullback didn't get a good grip on the football, but that's kind of been the story of the entire night this evening.
Second down. Aldo Gaither is the new quarterback. Second play, some jumping over there on the other side by Marist, and I believe we have an offside. Yeah. And let's check the penalty here. Offsides is the call. Offsides is the call. Fifth penalty is called on Marist. They're going to bring it out to the 30-yard line.
Boy, those Marist plays are so undisciplined. Look at that.
Hey, don't forget Sports Unlimited each and every weeknight at 9 o'clock on Media One Channel 33. Sports Unlimited Roundtable on Monday night. We'll take a look back at the weekend of action. We'll have lots of things to talk about. Wednesday night, we'll be joined by Atlanta Falcons defensive tackle Shane Dronette. Handoff to Lee. Lee coming around from the wingback position. Squirms out of a tackle, then cuts back into the middle of the field where he's got some blockers. Misses a guy there at the 40. Hopscotches his way up to the 46-yard line. Did a whole lot of work, and Robert Lee with some positive yardage up to the 46-yard line.
I think he ran about 80 yards, he gained about 10.
Well, I tell you what, it's a good fight. I mean, good job to see the offensive lineman pulling around here. Coach really, at this point, you know, sending his boys out to run the ball because they're having problems passing the ball. So what do you do with this young man? Good job, pirouettes, left, right. Look, number 77 shielding it off.
You got tired watching that play.
Absolutely. I mean, just picking them up and putting them down.
6:19 to play, 1st and 10. Church goes in motion. This time it's Mason on the carry, up close to the 50-yard line. Gain of about 4 on the play. Stop was made by Paul White. As the clock ticks down on Washington's season, they will finish up at 9-2. Marist will now be 12-0 and move on to the state quarterfinals, and will play next week either at Hardaway in Columbus or at Doherty in Albany. Ball at the midfield stripe. We have movement on the line. Marist jumped first, but the Washington player over there on the end, Arnold, also jumped. And that new rule in the NFL, don't be confused. I don't believe they have it in high school football. The new rule in the NFL is that the defensive player jumps and makes the offensive player jumps, and the defensive guy jumps offside. It's a penalty on the defense. They don't have that rule in high school football. At least I don't think they do.
Can you say that again? You confuse me.
I used to play in the NFL. You should know that.
The 1200th penalty on Washington.
Yeah, going to back it up to the 45-yard line.
Have there ever been triple digits? I'm sure we're up around 89, 90, 91 or something like that.
120 yards in penalties now against Washington. Lee has the ball again. Lee trying to get outside, and he won't. Brought down by Wano Queen. And it's 3rd now.
Good job by the run. You see, reading outside, stretching outside, just doing what he can. Dipsy-do, dips in, dips out, and actually kind of tricks himself with play.
And another field. Could it be? Yeah, they're talking about it something.
A lot of laundry tonight.
Personal foul has been called against Marist. That'll be the 6th penalty on Marist. No, personal foul against Washington. The official pointed the wrong way.
This game, Coach, reminded me of the Kansas City Chiefs Denver Broncos game of a couple of weeks ago. Just a relentless barrage. I mean, it's almost, if just think about it this way, if all the yellow flags that were thrown tonight were thrown at one point in time, you actually wouldn't be able to see the football field. There's been so many penalties.
Well, these guys are going to have their flags dry cleaned before the next week's round of playoffs.
A lot of laundry tonight.
Yeah, I tell you what.
More importantly, they're going to have to ice their arms down for throwing so much. They're not used to throwing that much.
They tore a rotator cuff.
Wow.
2nd down, and really too long for me to even bother counting at this point. 5:26 to play in the game.
This is good. The refs bringing them in. They don't want any unnecessary silliness to go on.
Refs are telling them to. Refs are giving them a lecture here.
Matt, give him that lecture. Give him that lecture now, fellas.
Well, fellas, you know, we still have 5:26 to play in this ball game. And I don't want to see any unnecessary roughness or any extracurriculars out here. I want you to shake hands and come out here and play some nice, clean football for this final 5:26 and make your school proud.
That's exactly what he said, too, Matt.
Something to that effect. Bulldog Preview can be seen, and so can Atlanta Business Chronicle, Saturdays and Sundays at 8 o'clock, 8 a.m. and 8 p.m. Bulldog Preview can be seen tomorrow morning at 11:30 as well. Dumping the ball off to Elmondre Mason, who does not hold on, and it's 3rd down. .508 to play in the game. 36-0 the score. Marist leading Washington. The War Eagles going to move on to the quarterfinals. They've state semifinals now, consecutive years. And now they're going to be one step closer to making it 3 consecutive years.
I tell you, I'd love to see a Riverdale-Marist matchup sometime. I think that would be a state championship type game.
Gaither back to pass, fires over here on the near side, and it is complete to DeAndis Brown, and it's 4th down.
And you know, it's funny, it's interesting you mentioned that, Matt. If you're going to beat Marist, it's going to take a team, another very well-coached team, and Riverdale is that team that would have the chance to do it. Let's go down to the sidelines to Bo Bach.
Thanks, Jamie. And the referee did come over with about 10 minutes to go in the 4th quarter, and there was a player from Washington ejected. He couldn't identify the number at that time, and also said to Marist coach Alan Chadwick, better check on number 43. He's getting a little out of control. Maybe he should sit down for a while, too.
4th down punting situation. It's booted away, and it's going to bounce at the 32 and roll dead at the 23. And with 4:27 to play in the game, Marist leading Washington 36-0. 4:26 to play in the game. Marist leading Washington 36-0. Marist taking over at their 22-yard line. Handoff right in the middle of the field. Goes to Matt Gala. Gala getting his first carry of the night. Pick up about 3 on the play. Let's go down on the sideline to Bo Bach.
Thanks. I got Tricia and Jackie here, the Marist cheerleaders, and you guys are going to the state quarterfinals. That's pretty good, huh?
Yeah, we're excited.
Hey, you got to cheer for that?
Yes, of course.
Anything that this hombre could do?
Just give everybody hugs.
Well, let's hear it.
Excited as well they should be. They are 3.5 minutes away from moving on to the state quarterfinals. Handoff went to Leverett on that last play rather, and he picked up a yard, and it's going to be 3rd down.
I tell you what, they call Bo the Dean. It's amazing. He's got more gray hairs than the bird.
3rd down. Washington loads up the line. Ball is loose, and it's still loose, and it's still loose. And the quarterback, Justin Williams, finally falls on it at the 26-yard line. I tell you, the ball bounced around like a pinball out there, and Marist finally covers, and it's 4th down.
I tell you what, I think I got it figured out. I think some of the Marist at one of these great facilities over here came up with the blubber ball, or flubber ball. I mean, it just seems as though everything negative that could possibly happen is happening to Washington. That ball bounced around, probably hit 7 of the Washington football players, and not a one of them came up with the ball.
It's the cat litter.
Wow.
Bo nailed it in the first half. It's got to be the cat litter.
I tell you what, I want to get that cat litter checked.
And it's 4th down, 4th and 5 with 2:16 to play. And it's time now to take a look at our Winn-Dixie players of the game. And for Marist, it is Ben Collinger, who had 2 interceptions, one of them for a touchdown, a 36-yard return for a touchdown that was the backbreaker in this ball game just 2 minutes into the 2nd quarter, and then had a 38-yard touchdown reception from Paul Nichols with no time left on the clock in the 3rd quarter. 2 touchdowns, 2 interceptions for Ben Collinger, our player of the game from Marist. And for Washington, Jerry Slaughter, number 34, who had 6 tackles and wreaked some havoc in that Marist backfield in the first half when it was still a ball game.
I want to go back to the kitty litter. I want to see what's in that can. They might have something nuclear in there.
whatever it is, you're not going to see any cats pouncing around on Washington's sideline from
They
here
probably
on
got
out.
some dust from Chernobyl in there or something. I'm telling you, there's something really strange in that bucket over there. Look at the kid's got it right there, number 20 on the sidelines, or number 90. Is that his number? He's taking the old goodie bag back.
They're protecting it, that's for sure. So it's 4th down in a punting situation here for Marist. Joshua Robinson standing at his 12-yard line with 2:16 to play in the game. Antoine Church stands deep. Beautiful long kick. Church calls for a fair catch at the 36-yard line. And that's where Washington will begin what is perhaps their final possession of the 1998 season.
And at this point, I can't help but think the coach would be glad when this thing is over. But I tell you what, it's just been a very unusual night. You see, coach has a team, the Marist ball players down on the sidelines, has them all gathered up in a group there. And I guess he's probably telling them, hey, guys, let's make sure you keep your composure. Don't let anything happen. But the Marist players over there were all gathered up in a bundle. And I tell you what, they are a very well-coached, well-disciplined group of football players.
Yeah, Washington didn't help their cause tonight. You're constantly tripping over themselves, penalties, drop passes. But this game validates why Marist is the #1 ranked team in AAA this season, and they got to be them and Riverdale and Peach County odds-on favorites to get to the Dome.
Timeout has been called by Washington, and Rodney Cofield is coming out on the field to talk to the head official. Or is he coming out to talk to the head official? He's just coming out to talk to his team, I think.
Yeah, and that's something, I really feel bad for Coach Cofield, too, because he had no idea. I mean, his coaches prepared this football team, and they did a lot to, had a very good football season, started the season #1, and just some things didn't happen. But let's go down to the sidelines to Bo Bach.
Well, you notice, guys, in the 4th quarter, while Marist had a commanding lead, they never went to a prevent defense, and they told me it's because Latrez Harrison is just too dangerous. You give him that much time, he's going to pick you apart. So they stayed with their base defense.
It worked. 14-0. Marist led at the half. They've put 22 unanswered points on the board here in the second half, and you'll never guess, but another flag is down on the field.
And what is the official number now?
Illegal procedure is the call. They could use this as a training tape for officials. Because we have seen just about every penalty in any situation that you could possibly imagine.
They can just put the clips together of this game and run in that referee promo we did.
Just from this game, absolutely.
1st and 15, and I think we've heard that a couple of times tonight. The ball is fumbled, and Marist has recovered at the 27-yard line.
I'm telling you, confiscate the football now. That's it. That's enough. I want the football. Confiscate the football and grab that little bucket, too. See, hey, 44's got the bucket right now. Grab that bucket. Something's wrong. Marist has done something, and I'm calling the cops. Matter of fact, I'll call Shannon Sharp. Shannon knows how to really be a big muckraker. 5 turnovers for Washington.
Well,
I mean, my goodness.
What's interesting is last week we were at the Chattahoochee-Pebblebrook game, and Chattahoochee had 6 turnovers. It shows you, you get into these big games, and yeah, there is something to be said about, the pressure of the big game and not doing things the way you do it during the regular season.
You spare me. It's that bucket and the balls, and I want to see them after the game.
All right, Oliver Stone. Pitch goes to the outside there, and that is Carden Isom getting his first carry of the game. I bet he never figured to be carrying this game. 1:52 to play.
I think I see Bo
second down.
I think Bo's going in.
The unfortunate thing for Washington, they were really building this game as kind of their game where they get over the hump.
Yeah.
Southwest DeKalb and Douglas.
Maybe they put too much pressure on themselves.
They may have done that, and it's really backfired. They ran into a buzzsaw. They made a lot of mistakes. It's 36-0, and this is his worst nightmare, Cofield's worst nightmare.
Let's take a look back at the Atlanta Falcons play of the game. And it came with just 10:04. Came with 10:04 to play in the second quarter. Latrez Harrison back to pass, and Ben Collinger there to pick things off at the 36-yard line and take it back all by himself. Ben Collinger with that 36-yard interception return for a touchdown. The Atlanta Falcons play of the game. Doherty has defeated Hardaway tonight by a final of 44-21, so that means that Marist will be in Albany next Friday night to play Doherty in the state quarterfinals.
Didn't Coach Gillibo say that Doherty was one heck of a team and was one of the best teams he's seen this year? So that is going to be a great game next weekend in Albany.
Well, I just want to see the team who can beat that bucket and those balls. That's all I want to know. I'm telling you, that bucket will be the first thing on that bus.
4th down and 7. Final play of the game. Pitch is fumbled, picked up by Hinton. Hinton coming back the other way, and Hinton is driven out of bounds with 2 seconds left on the clock. 1 second, and they're just going to let it go. $36-0. Marist has crushed Washington here in the second round of the state playoffs. Marist advances to the state quarterfinals, and next week will be at Doherty. Marist now 12-0 on the season. Washington, with the loss, falls to 9-2, and their season reaches a bitter conclusion.
Absolutely. You talk about a team. I mean, this is something when you think back to, and I guess in Georgia they have the 3-a-days from time to time in football camps. You think back at the beginning of the year, all the optimism that you have going into the season, and really for it to come to an end like this, it's really sad. And I'm sure Coach Cofield, I really feel for him because he's poured his heart and soul into a game plan, into making this thing happen, and the execution just was not there tonight.
36-0. Marist has defeated Washington. And let's go down into the middle of the field there with the victorious Alan Chadwick.
Well, Coach, congratulations, 36-0. I thought probably going in, if you could have taken that, you said, let's go home.
Oh, I'd taken that all the way to the bank any day. I mean, our defense played great. What can you say? I mean, anytime you get a shutout against a team as dangerous as Washington with the many talents and abilities they've got, you've done a good, nice work. Coach Decker and our defensive staff did a super job.
And your offense really ran it with authority. There was a miscue early, but other than that, they did everything that they seemingly you wanted them to do.
I thought offensively we played pretty well tonight as well. We just, like you said, we'd have one play on each particular series that we did get stopped. It kind of got us off schedule. And our offense is very important, to get that 3 and 4 and 5 yards per carry.
Coach, when you run it like that, obviously that pass to Collinger is probably there quite a bit. Tempted to go to that a little bit more?
Well, I am, but apparently our offensive coordinator's not. So, but it worked out real good tonight, and I'm real happy for Ben.
Anything your club could have done better tonight?
It's hard to say. I'd have to look at the film and look at it and study it to really say. But I thought we played pretty well in all phases tonight, and I'm real pleased with the win.
Well, Coach Chadwick, good luck in the quarterfinals. Good seeing you.
Marist, a 36-0 winner over Washington, and the celebration has begun at Hugh Spalding Stadium. And we'll come back and wrap things up after this timeout on Media One Channel 33. Welcome back to a victorious Hugh Spalding Stadium in Dunwoody. With top-ranked Marist has crushed Washington tonight by a final of 36 here in the second round of the state playoffs. Matt Stewart along with Jamie Newberg, Jamie Dukes, and Bo Bach down the field. And I tell you what, this is something that we certainly did not anticipate tonight. We expected a state championship-type ball game. Washington killed themselves early, and Marist, being the championship team that they are, certainly made them pay for it.
Well, actually, I mean, you look at discipline. I mean, this team, Marist, is a very well-disciplined football team, and the exact antithesis of what we saw, not from the standpoint of the way they were coached from Coach Cofield, but just from the standpoint they didn't have an opportunity to get rhythm going. I mean, they started off 5 times 1st and 15. You see the score and you see the numbers right there. 9 first downs for Washington, 11 first downs for Marist. I mean, but you look at the penalties. That's the key area. 13 penalties for 120 yards, 5 turnovers to 1 for Marist.
Yeah, you're not going to beat a Marist football team playing like that. And you got to tip your hats to Alan Chadwick and his defense. They took it to Washington, disrupted the passing game all night long. All-American quarterback Latrez Harrison. This is not the way he wanted to go out tonight, especially with a goose egg. So,
a couple of big games by Ben Collinger and by Hugh Riley for Marist.
Yeah, the Deacon. I'm telling you, I'm putting Hugh in my band. I mean, Hugh did a great job of being in the face of the quarterback of Latrez Harrison, and so it was one of those situations where it was just very difficult.
Marist on the road next week. This was their final home game, a 36-0 winner over Washington here in the second round of the playoffs. We'll be back with you next week for the state quarterfinals to wrap up our season here on Media One Channel 33. And now for Jamie Dukes and Jamie Newberg and Bo Bach down on the field and the entire Media One Channel 33 crew, I'm Matt Stewart. So long from Dunwoody.
That's a wrap, guys.